Ta-da!
Hey,
Hi, what is this?
what is what?
You look like you were taking a nap.
I was just listening to the song and grooving.
Groove? This is how you groove?
This is our groove.
Well, I'm grooving over here in Austin, Texas.
I'm
Hello.
grooving. I'm grooving. I'm grooving in the meantime.
You are grooving in the meantime. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday.
It is a happy Monday, but I'm trying to focus on the happiness that I feel when I think about my friend Brad, who I found out passed earlier around 4:44 p.m. today, to be
Oh, I'm so
exact.
sorry.
Um, I felt very sad a few times earlier, and I sat with that for a bit, and now I'm trying to focus on a little bit more of the happiness of it. Um, I was actually working on a video that he is in when the news came that he had a stroke last Monday. But I spent the week and finishing that up and trying to make it look good. Gary, the guy who shot it, did a lot of the heavy lifting on that for me. But anyway, it's done, and maybe I'll play it later. It's my version of "Sweet Child of Mine" from my Valentine's Day show in 2019, I believe.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tyson died the very next week, so it was a really weird time for me anyway. But anyway, really cool guy, one of the co-founders of Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. Well, one of the New Bohemian co-founders, I guess, not one of the Edie Brickell co-founders. I guess her founders would be her parents. Right. But I was lucky enough to get to play with him several times, and more than anything, he was just a really cool human, like really nice guy, really sweet.
Wow. The comments are all lighting up with condolences for you. So.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. We should also take a minute, though, to celebrate. We have some celebratory Sidekick Power news. In fact, it's very relevant. I don't drink Pepsi at all, but this is lemonade inside of here. But baby Pepsi, as I and Robert affectionately refer to Christian Marte, who plays Gerard and all these other amazing characters, got engaged.
He did. Yes. I already agreed to write the script for his wedding, and he's really on board with it. I mean, I can't think he's lying to me when he humors me and says yes, of course. So we're gonna do musical numbers, and it's gonna be really good.
Are we gonna do ABCs of Kink at their wedding?
I mean, I thought we'd write something original, probably some sort of new original song.
Should we just take a minute to kind of spitball that?
Yeah. Let's see. Something. It'd be like a song about like I flew to another state to live with you. And
wait, didn't we write this already? It's cold in Minneapolis.
No, that was never about flying. That's about wishing you to go home again and everything.
So you wanted it to be about flying?
Well, no, I just that's how it starts out. Because
I see. Gotcha. Okay. So,
yeah. So our love started at a distance, maybe.
That's perfect.
Well, there we go.
Hang on, somebody in the comments write that down and just put it in the comments for us, please. Our love started at a distance. That's the first line of the song.
There we go.
Keep going. Tell the story.
Our love started at a distance, and we have we had a need to meet. I don't know. I need paper and pen. I feel like that's sort of the thing.
Paper and pen. Come on, Shakespeare. We'll go get your quill.
My quill. I need my quill out there and everything.
No, I understand that. I understand that. You need to feel the keys to the clicks and the claps.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not good at spitballing. I need to type them out and everything.
For folks at home, if you've seen dueling pianos, you know that the beginning of dueling pianos starts with a computer starting up, and there's a moment where you can hear Simon, who's played by Mark Eugene Garcia, who was one of our guests last week, and we had a fabulous time with, as always.
Mhm.
He's typing really fast, and it's supposed to be like this old school hackers 80s style thing. And I did put in additional sound effects of like hacking typing kind of thing for dramatic effect. But I want to be clear that Josh and Paul have like a really old school, which I prefer, keyboard that clacks, that like, you can feel it. It feels like a typewriter, which is what I learned on.
Hefty.
Yeah, it's hefty. Like all things in Sidekick, it's hefty. So, I mean, you could probably like put somebody's like a pretty hard hitting on them with that thing. But I understand the need to kind of clack, the need to click clack.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea. Our love started at a distance is actually,
We've got the comment right there.
and there's Kyle. Kyle, of course, will be joining us first this evening.
Yeah.
If you are not familiar with Kyle, you are about to be indoctrinated. This is part of the gay agenda, and welcome to the revolution.
We also have some fans in the audience waiting for Miss Ada Vox.
Ada Vox will be here at the second half of our show. I'm really excited to be joined by Ada. And
I can tell you that Gerard did not rope Father Angie. I'm sorry.
Wait, what does that mean, though?
Well, Gerard and Father Angie have had their thing. I mean, they hooked up in season 2, remember?
Well, yeah, but what does roped mean?
Roped means caught, like married. Like, have you never used that term before?
No.
Like I roped me a man.
Oh, okay. When you say it that way.
I roped me a man.
Yeah, but when you say it that way,
It's very southern. I feel like in Alabama they talked about it all the time.
I mean, I
I roped
guess.
me a man.
Or like I roped me a cow, or
If that's your thing, if you're into that, sure.
I mean, I can remember people with ropes. Well, that didn't sound good either. But
No.
No. Anyway, Kyle will be joining us. Ada Vox will join us. Two amazing singers, both people of size. We're really, really, really thrilled to have them both on.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, if you don't know Kyle by name, you're going to know him when you see him for sure. And if you don't know Ada by name, you might just know her when you hear her. But you'll know her when you see her as well, because again, it's they're fantastic. And I love how they both had really, really strong kind of moments in pop culture and kind of the zeitgeist of things. I wrote me a man in the who can speak at that tone though. I can't.
I feel like we need to have Ashley on the show to do that or something.
I know. These are the moments where we miss her,
Yeah.
So.
But she's performing tonight. She has a show tonight, so.
That's correct. If you're in New York City and you still got time, actually, I think it starts at 9 or 8:30.
One of those.
Yeah. She's performing in the Village, right?
In Stonewall, actually.
Yeah, Stonewall. Yeah. So get over to Stonewall tonight and go crazy with Ashley Menard. Yeah, I mean,
that's exactly what she's wearing tonight too. So.
God, I hope so. God, I hope so. I just want to look at this for a second, though. You realize that because we can't get like a full picture, right? So, but because of the arms here, I've never noticed this before, because she has on the black lipstick and the dark eyes and what looks like a bat necklace.
I think this is a Halloween episode that we did.
Okay, because she looks really spooky. She's got the candles with Cher back there. Maybe it was from the Halloween episode.
Sure, Halloween.
But her arms kind of look like she's a candy corn. She kind of looks like she's got candy corn arms. I love it.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, enough.
Here, hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim. Jim, I got to tell you, if I could get just like 2 more of you to put into the Discord, you make so much great conversation happen there, and it's so cool that you're talking and like sharing what's going on with you, and trying to connect with people, and that's what the entire Discord really should be about, is this connection between all of us, right?
Absolutely. That's why we have the Discord. So
Yeah. And we've been talking about opening it up publicly, not kidding. That is a great idea.
I'm gonna file that away, Big Boy Project.
Oh, maybe that will be the first thing we can involve Big Boy Project in.
Maybe.
Yeah, that could be something we can find a role. I mean, because Ashley already clearly is the candy corn arm killer.
She can't be.
Oh, it even rolls off the tongue. The candy corn arm killer.
Yeah.
I'm putting that in the Brooklyn Butcher. That's what I mean. There's going to be a radio announcement or something about this. Bob. This kind of reminds me of the candy corn arm killer.
We'll have to chat about that. Yes, we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Before I forget, we have been talking about maybe making the Discord public for everybody, but right now the Discord is only happening over at patreon.com/sidekick productions. When you become a member of the Crewniverse, you get access to the Patreon. You're there. We appreciate you. This is, ideally where we want to be making announcements first, and posting things,
and where we do mostly post things and everything. So
yeah, and obviously on the Patreon, I'm just talking about the Discord in particular. We certainly can do a better job, I think, of managing it, but also this is just a reminder that Joshua and I are both very busy, and we would still be interested in someone who might be a fan of the Crewniverse, who has experience with video editing, or maybe you just want to handle like social media stuff, like you want to get involved and become a little bit more hefty. A little bit more handy is what I meant to say. Handy, or not handsy. This is not an invitation for anything like that. This is helpful, community-driven stuff. We'd appreciate it. So there you go. Okay, back to our regular scheduled program. You can subscribe. We would appreciate it if you subscribe. You can also make an easy donation over at Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, and another way that you can help is to purchase a T-shirt or a mug, or I don't think we have mouse pads, but if we did, we have what?
We have some phone cases.
We do have phone cases. So if those interest you at all, head over to sidekicksupermarket.com. We'd appreciate your business.
We have a few totes as well.
But as we are getting closer to bringing in our first guest tonight, I do want to remind folks, if you've got questions for Kyle or Ada or both, put them in the comments, and make sure each question is a separate comment, please.
Yes.
I don't care how many questions you submit. I will ask anything that's appropriate, that's relative. But let's get to know these people. That's what
That's why they're here.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest pieces of what Sidekick Power Hour is always been about, is the community of people that we love and support, but also building community by finding other people who are doing similar things, or finding other fat people who are doing really cool stuff in other areas that we're not doing, stuff in, or finding other artists who are doing things that are fat and queer and sex positive, and so when we get to introduce those people to y'all, it means a lot. And we that's why we're doing it, is so that everybody can get to know everybody. What was it I said on Twitter this week?
X?
Yeah, X, whatever. I said there's a few things that I love more than seeing artists supporting each other, And I just think it's, if we were not doing it, who the hell else do we expect to do it? So,
well, that's pretty much accurate. I mean, we have to do it for ourselves because No one else really is doing it for us.
Sisters are doing it for
Speaking of
themselves.
which, we have people in the audience cheering us for another big milestone that we accomplished over the weekend.
Oh. 9,000 YouTube subscribers. Holy crap.
We have 9,000 YouTube subscribers over the weekend. It's not a lot compared to some channels. It's a huge amount compared to what I thought we'd ever have. So I'm very, very grateful.
I mean, that's a lot.
And I'm all with Big Boy Project here. Let's get us to 10,000 subscribers. That is a soft goal I have for by the end of the year. I don't know if that's possible, but
why is it gotta be? Why it's gotta be soft? Why can't it be hard?
Because a soft goal means that it's like a soft launch versus a launch.
A soft lunch versus a lunch?
A launch.
Oh, launch.
A soft launch. A launch. You know, like the episode of Schitt's Creek where they have the soft launch.
Gotcha.
All right. That's not my accent, but apparently I can't be clear. Chunkahedron volunteers, but
you're hefty enough.
No.
Oh, you're so hefty. We appreciate you. That really should. We should just start throwing that word around more often. You know, I didn't even mean for it to be, but it kind of fits.
And it's over 9,000, Chunkahedron. You're right. It is over 9,000. So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah, 9,008 as of the last time I looked. I'm gonna.
I mean, that's more than I have on YouTube as well. So, I mean, and but I'm not even trying over there lately. I feel like, but we will. But Josh, anything else going on in the Crewniverse?
In the Crewniverse, well, we're working hard on finishing production on our new show that we're making right now. And we are also working hard on post-production of our feature film, A Taste of Youth. And we are also starting pre-production on something that I'm hoping to film in the late fall. So we'll see. Plus, if you're on Patreon, you saw that the latest trailer for the next episode of Demon Doctor came out. And in hopefully a few days' time, we'll have a new episode for you to watch on the Patreon.
That's pretty awesome.
I know. Thank you so much. And thank you, Blachubert, for congratulating us on all of the amazing things we have here. And thank you, Irene, for joining us at 122 in France. We love Ada, too, and we're so excited to have her on the show.
Really excited to have her. We've been trying to make this happen for several weeks, actually, and it finally worked out. So really, really stoked. And really stoked to bring in Kyle. We're going to talk about him a little bit more right before we bring him in about 5 minutes or so. But I did want to take a minute and update everybody on what's going on in my world. I am performing this Friday night at Austin Eastsiders. I'm doing a couple of songs live for Sun Radio. They're doing a telethon.
Oh, nice.
And so they're going to be trying to raise some money. Sun Radio is a local radio station here in Austin that serves a big chunk of Central Texas because they have like towers all over, kind of thing. It's hard to explain, but
radio towers. They spread out the waves.
Yeah,
I think I get it.
It's not that hard to explain, but anyway, they also serve the world because they are online and they have an app, but they are really very, very pro Austin music and have been for the longest time. My dear friend Susanna Chaffel was one of their midday was their midday on air person, DJ, and also they just play a lot of local music. They have a thing called Sound of Our Town. They play, people from the Austin area, and I've been fortunate that they've shared my music many times and played it, and because of that is I've decided that not only am I going to perform a couple songs for them live, but I'm going to release my new single exclusively to Sun Radio for the first month before it gets to any other radio station. So, in an effort to hopefully encourage them to A, play it more, but B, for people to go and try to hear it on Sun Radio and request it on Sun Radio. So we can really see what kind of impact that we can make, and You can request via the app or via email or via text. There's all these different ways to do it. And then maybe it'll have a little bit of fire under it, and at the same time, maybe people who are listening to my song on Sun Radio might donate some money to Sun Radio to help keep them alive.
I love that idea. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I think so too. I'm very excited about it, and I have not released this song to Patreon yet, so I'm also going to keep this off of Patreon. Even like you can't. The only place you'll be able to hear it will be on Sun Radio for that month. Like I might put little blips of it onto social media, but I think it's a kind of like a cool experiment.
I'm all for trying new things, so I think that it's worth trying, especially if you believe in the mission of the radio station as much as you do what you do.
Yeah. And for any Austin area people, or really anywhere, I guess, because you could hear it on sunradio.org or .com. I'm sorry, sunradio.com. If you hear my song that's coming out on Friday on Sun Radio, which we're going to debut it then, by the way. It's going to play live for the first time. I'm not going to play it live like with instruments. We're going to push play live on the air.
Let me just stop you for 1 second, because I know it's very late. I agree with you, Irene. I know in France it's a little late for you to stay on the show, but good news, if you want to watch this, you can watch it tomorrow. If you can't stay all night to watch with us, it will be available to watch on our YouTube channel. So just make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sidekick Productions, and you can find this episode tomorrow. So
that's right. The full episode will be up. All the episodes of this season will be up until we start putting this out as a podcast. So once it becomes a podcast, then the full episodes will come down, and then the podcast will replace those. So if you're looking for those, now's the time to listen to them and watch them, because this season will end, and we will have to then process the podcast and get it out. So stay tuned. But thank you for being here. And thanks to everybody for subscribing. You can always, if you are interested in more music about me, you can go over to nakia.net, which is right there. Anything else going on music-wise? No, I don't think so. And I've been here since I got back from Palm Springs for Western Exposure Dad Fest.
Well, not entirely. I think I saw you out this weekend at an IMAX theater. So
you saw me in an IMAX theater?
Well, according to the photos I saw.
No, I was at an IMAX theater, but I'm saying it's the first time that I've been on the show and talked about.
Oh, yes, I understand.
What did you think that I said?
I thought you meant you've been in your home since Palm Springs.
Oh, no, not at all. No, Saturday night I went to the Iron Bear and had an incredible time that we're going to talk about later, because it was, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. People are out and actually living. And
thank you, Irene, for subscribing.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, well, we're going to get Kyle McIntyre in here. He is coming up right now. And before we do, we're going to, of course, go to a quick commercial. And when we come back, we will be joined by our soon-to-be new friend, Kyle McIntyre. Stay tuned. This is Sidekick Power Hour. By the way, this is the first time we've introduced the show. Hi, this is. Hey, it's Nakia and Joshua, and this is Sidekick Power Hour, Season 3, Episode 12. Tonight we have Kyle McIntyre and Ada Vox. Stay tuned. Awesome.
Just hit play on the commercial.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
You can call yourself a chubby chaser, even if you're not a twink. You wanna hurt me? Well, I say yay.
Sex is the best sex, that's what they say. I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, so listen to my advice. Come here, just a little bit closer.
I'm a laugh machine, I'll leave you tickled pink. Let's clown around if that's your kink. We can clown around if that's your kink.
Yes, you
can say that I've got daddy issues.
Well, we don't know if he's got daddy issues, but please welcome to Sidekick Power Hour, Kyle McIntyre.
Hey everybody, what's going on?
Hi, Kyle. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are very excited to have you here tonight. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, this is my podcast cherry, actually. You guys are popping it.
That's the second one this season, I think.
It's definitely at least the second one that's vocalized it this season. Yeah,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, some people might want to keep their podcast cherry to themselves.
Yeah. but James Unsworth was the first, I think, and then
That's correct.
Kyle is the second, and two very different parts of the world. So,
and you know what, Kyle, I have to start out by saying, what an incredible shirt. Is that a button-up shirt?
Oh, are you into this little moment?
Yes.
It comes off, you know.
Well, we'll get there. But you know, Kyle, you one of the things that I really appreciate about you is you're not afraid to wear clothes that I think, you know, people might think are like loud or, you know, too much or whatever. Josh is the same way. He loves bright colors. He loves to you know, patterns and to make a statement. And I really appreciate that when I see it. You know, it's something that I want to do more of. You know, I'm very much a jean and t-shirts kind of guy, but I also love to dress up. I just feel like I guess I find myself often thinking, oh, it's too much work. What do you think? Do you find that it's easy to look that cute all the time?
You know, some people are just born with it. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'm always for loud and proud. Like I love a print. I think it helps with your silhouette. I think it helps with sort of, I don't know, it makes me feel good. I would never wear something solid. I don't know why. It's just the thing with me. I just love the print. Can't explain it, but it's like my entire wardrobe. It's hilarious.
I love that. Well, Joshua, it takes a lot of effort for him to put on anything that's not purple. So
it's true.
Well, purple is my favorite color as well. So looks like we're friends.
I think so. We'll have to swap.
Kyle, lots of stuff going on with you lately. You've got a new EP called Diva.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so last year I was in Tick Tick Boom on Netflix.
Yes. Which is incredible.
Tiny part. Don't blink. But nonetheless, I was 5 feet from Andrew Garfield for about 14 hours. So
that is enough to just brag about anything. So
I will show up. Okay. So, but anyways, when the movie was coming out, I was like, I need to create some content to release with the movie coming out because I'm in a small part of it. So I wanted to have some more substance to release. And so I got together with a friend of mine and we used, what's the program called? It's it's one of those audio programs, on a laptop, and just plugged in the guitar and plugged in the mic and recorded it in his bedroom and, sent it to someone to be mixed and mastered. And yeah, it was my first little song that came out. And the bug, I kind of got bit by the bug. I felt it and I was like, wow, I've always been a singer. I've always performed, but I've never done it in a way of like a recording artist. I've never recorded music. It's always been live theater or cabaret or something of that nature. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go big. I want to create some more content. 13,000 people listened to 3090 and that's not a lot. But it's a lot for someone who's never. It's a lot for someone who's never recorded a song before and just put it out there for people to hear. So I was very excited by that, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to create some more content. So I reached out to my friend again. His name is Gordon Bonnet. He does all the instrumentation, records all of the instruments and my vocals as well. And then we actually went to the studio this time. We went to a studio in New York City called Sound Studios. And yes, we've been working on it for the last year. We've recorded 5 songs that will be coming out. So it's very, very exciting.
And you're releasing them kind of one at a time and then going to put them all together.
Yes, exactly. So the next single is going to be coming out in August 14th, I want to say. Let me just look at the calendar real quick. Yeah, hold on. August 11th is going to be coming out. And it's going to be Do What You Want, Lady Gaga.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay.
That's fantastic. Yes. Well, let's take a look.
You guys are going to love this.
This is the official video for your cover of Miley Cyrus's "See You Again." Let's take a look, listen.
I've got my sights set on you, and I'm ready to aim. I have a heart that will never be tamed. I knew you were something special when you spoke my name. Now I can't wait to see you again.
Those eyebrows, Kyle. So good.
I've got a way of knowing when something is right. I feel like I must have known you in another life, 'cause I felt this deep connection when you looked in my eyes.
So this sounds really great. Is this guy in the video? Is he an actor or is he involved in the music?
That's my friend Etzel. He is he's just a friend of mine who's an actor in the city, and I reached out to him and was like, I need a sexy cowboy to be in this video with me. You got me. And he, showed up for me, which was great.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Josh, I think you know that a little something about how this video is actually already connected to the Coronaverse.
Well, yeah, because the person who shot the video is none other than Mr. Catalan Stellian, who, as we all know,
so amazing.
He is a fabulous, fabulous cinematographer, and he has done a great deal of work for us in SideKick Productions, and I can see his signature bisexual lighting here.
I was going to say, we had such a good time shooting our movie that we co-directed last summer called A Taste of Youth, and Catalan was the DP on that, and we gave him shit about his bisexual lighting. Because it's always like pink and blue.
Which I love. So I was told immediately.
It's so cute and so perfect. I mean, obviously he uses other colors, but it's just so funny to fuck with him about it.
Well, we love this red jacket.
Yeah, the red jacket is really nice, and I love the cow print.
So the clothes were by Florence DeLee. You may or may not know her. She's a designer here in New York City. She does a lot of drag race stuff for Alexis Michelle and Nina West and Britta Filter, all the drag race girls.
I love
she actually did she did the flower dress that Sasha does, the big reveal in. That was like her first big moment on Drag Race, and she's done stuff for everybody. Yeah, she's one of my good friends.
Very cool and really great performance. And I know I got it turned down, but I just want people to go and experience it for themselves. Obviously, Kyle, where can they go to experience that?
So you can find me on YouTube. You can just search Kyle McIntyre. I should pop right up. There might be one other one who's not as cool as me, but I'm definitely the coolest one.
Okay.
And you can also find me. My Instagram is Kyle McChicken.
Talk about that. When did you decide to go McChicken?
Don't ask. I was going to say, don't ask. I don't know. Kyle McChicken came from college, actually. My name is Kyle McIntyre, but I I don't know, one of my goofy friends just one day was like Kyle McChicken, and it just sort of stuck. I don't know.
Is
It's
that it?
hilarious. But
Yes.
that's it. So
Kyle
I kind of roll with
McChicken.
that. Yeah,
You might have to
it's
just
kind
change
of a
your stage
vibe,
name to
honestly.
It is a vibe.
You know, I don't know if I can go professionally with that. I might get sued by McDonald's, but you know, on Instagram, it's cool. Maybe they'll sponsor me, McDonald's. Ronald, if you're listening.
Ronald, if you're listening. Ronald, are you listening?
Grimace.
And you know who is listening is Grimace. Grimace is definitely on the line. I know that.
Well, of course, he's purple, so.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's talk a little bit more.
Follow on Instagram.
There you go, Big Boy Project, and they'll be sharing your stuff for sure. They're very, very pro community and very active and telling great stories about big boys everywhere. You talked about "See You Again." We saw some of that. You talked about the new single with Gaga. You talked a little bit about 3090. And a little bit about Tick Tick Boom. But we haven't talked yet about what I think a lot of our viewers, once they see it, will realize they already know you from, which is the Epic Builders campaign that you were a part of.
Oh my gosh, what a moment.
It really was a moment. I feel like every single bear chaser, chubby person that I knew that week was sharing that on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr. I saw GIFs of it on Tumblr forever. So,
I mean, we're talking 50, 60 million views on Facebook. It was insane.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. What was that like for you?
It was crazy. It came out of nowhere. I was a struggling theater artist in New York. I had just done a non-equity tour of Elf the musical, which is awful, by the way. Don't ever go see that.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. So,
hey, listen, a job's a job. Don't get me wrong, but it's usually when I go see something and I'm like, God, this is awful, and then I get the call about the job the next week. So, I had
That's
just
how I got my job.
Tour. Yeah, and all of a sudden my agent's calling me and she's like, "Do you pole dance?" And I'm like, No, I don't pole dance. And immediately click, they just hang up. They don't invest. They're trying to match people to jobs and make money. So like whatever, they moved on. And then I tell my friends about it, and they start, getting mad at me. They're like, "What are you talking about? Who cares? Just go. Who cares? You dance. You're a dancer. Just go to the audition." So I pick up the phone. I call my agent back, and I'm like, "Okay, I pole dance." And she's like, "All right, great. Go to the meatpacking district tomorrow and get ready to pole dance."
Not sus at all.
Yeah, not sus at all. I'm like, "Okay, great." So I put on some gym clothes. I don't know what you pole dance in. I'm like, and I show up to this audition, and you better believe it was just the most stunning, gorgeous men, ripped, sexy, just ready to pole dance their ass off. And I'm over here like, hey. So anyways, they're going in one by one. I'm just waiting. And then it's finally my turn. I go in the room, and the casting director looks at me, and she's like, "Okay, so we're just going to let you do your thing. Here's a toolbox, and you're a construction worker, and I'm just going to push play on the music." So little did they know, I have this alter ego inside of me. I don't know what their name is. Some might call them Coco. I don't know. But Coco came out. They turned on Milkshake by Kellis, and all of a sudden I'm just mugging to the camera and serving, and I don't even pole dance in the audition. I literally go up to the pole, I jump on it, because first of all, I could pull the pole towards me. It was like a makeshift like pole with like a weight at the bottom. I was like, I can't use this. So, I go up on it, I jump on it, I spin around it once, jump into a split in front of the camera, and just serve it to the camera. And which I'm not gonna lie, I've used that move many times, many splits for many things. So I thought, whatever, one more won't hurt them.
You're like, well, it got me a few dates. Maybe it'll get me
it got me a few good jobs at weddings and a few good jobs at school dances. So,
right.
Anyways, the casting director sends me out. I'm standing there for a second. The casting director comes running out, and she's like, "You booked the job. You are going to fly to LA tomorrow to start rehearsing."
She came out immediately before you even left.
Immediately, they were zooming from London because it's a British company.
Gotcha. All right.
And they were looking for someone immediately, and they had done auditions in London, in California, in Chicago, Atlanta, and New York was the last place, and they found me.
Well, let's take a look at this. Is a video called Epic Sizzle Reel.
This is from three different commercials that I did with this company.
All right, let's take a look.
Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Give me, I'm worth it. Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Give me, I'm worth it.
Okay, I tell her bring it back like she loves some. Bring it back like she loves some. In the club with the lights off, but you acting shy for. Come and show me that you're with it. Stop playing, now you know that I'm with it. What you acting shy for?
Just give me you. Just give me you. That's all I wanna do. And if what they say is true, if it's true, I'ma give it to you. I may take a lot of stuff, guaranteed I can back it up. I think I'ma call you bluff. Hurry up, I'm waiting now from. You see me in the spotlight, ooh, I love your style. Show me what you got now, come and make it worth my while. Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it.
So good, Kyle.
It's crazy you're doing that in jeans.
Absolutely. Those were they had gussets sewn in, stretchy. I told them, they knew, because I said, I will rip those jeans, trust me. I pound this pussy into the ground. So
you really did. It's, one of my favorite things is to see a big person dancing and like really doing it like people don't typically expect. And I think that, again, I have the same philosophy about dancing as I do singing, which is anybody can do it. Maybe you can't be professional, but anybody can do it if you try and you work at it, a little bit. And I think more people should sing and more people should dance, and we'd all feel better about ourselves. But anyway, I love it when I see a big boy or a big girl really getting down. It just brings me so much joy. It reminds me of how much that I love to dance. And, for me growing up, as a fat kid, I only danced behind the door. It was very few times that I felt comfortable and safe, especially as a queer kid growing up, to do that kind of stuff in public. But I loved it. I had dance routines. I had, whole bits worked out to all kinds of stuff. So I loved it. I'm curious, how long did you train to be a dancer? Was that something that you did like in school?
So my mom was very persistent when I was young. I was actually a little resistant, surprisingly, but she had me at Darla's dance studio at 9 years old, taking jazz and tap, and I was dancing pretty early, and she got me into theater productions too, and I've always been kind of dancing. I didn't really know my secret power until probably into high school and college, when we'd be at school dances or weddings or anything like that, and all of a sudden people are making a circle and it's like, go in and do something cool, and I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden I'm doing the worm and doing the splits and no one expects it, and I don't know, it just I come from a family of 5 boys actually, and surprisingly we're a very athletic family. We're built like trees. Like I'm literally a Frigidaire, but we're all wrestlers. We all grew up as wrestlers, and I always sort of had that athletic background. So flipping and rolling over my shoulders and doing the worm and doing the splits, and I don't know, it just all was sort of just in the package, if you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah.
Big Boy Project would like to know who your music inspirations are.
Ooh, great question.
And who are you listening to?
Okay.
Yeah.
Recently, definitely Z Machine. I am in love with Z Machine. If you don't know who that is, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a big boy lover himself. And
we've had Z Machine on the show a couple times actually.
Oh, really? Oh, he's fantastic. He's actually in New York right now.
I know. I just saw that. Yeah, and he and I are performing at Cannonball together.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, he's fantastic. I'm really hoping to collaborate with him. Maybe after I finish this EP, and maybe see if I can convince him to write me a song or two. And anyone else who is interested in writing music for big boys, my DMs are open. So.
Well, we started writing a song tonight in this very episode.
Yes, so what was it? I get on a plane or something? I get on a plane.
It was
I loved you from a distance, I think.
Loved you from a distance, yeah.
I loved you from a distance.
Yes, yeah.
If you're looking for more songs to cover, you can always cover any of the songs from our musical episode of Skeleton Crew. So we've got 15 songs to cover there. So.
Oh,
yes, absolutely.
I'd love to see him do a version of
Me too. Yes.
No, not the one.
A great one.
Cologne does. The one that Stewart does.
When Love's Not Enough.
When Love's Not Enough. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great song.
It's a very Broadway song. It's probably is it the most Broadway song on the record?
I mean, all of our songs are sort of Broadway songs.
They all are,
that's what I listen to, so that's what I write. I don't really write pop songs. I guess I write Broadway pop, so everything I
write pop songs. I mean, The Moon is a pop song.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's what you should cover, actually, is The Moon. That would be...
Show everyone how it's done instead of you singing it. So.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so more of my inspirations. Kelly Clarkson. I love Kelly Clarkson. I love Lady Gaga. Eric Clapton. Elton, of course. Freddie. All the tenors. I love... I just love a diva, honestly. That's kind of why I decided to do this EP. I really just love Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, Whitney, Celine. Oh my gosh, so some of the other songs that are coming out, Celine is one of them. I'm doing.
Oh wow.
And then I'm also doing So Emotional, Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Which is so good, guys. That one we kind of went with like a neo-funk sound, and we really slowed it down. It's very, very sexy. I'm very, very excited about that one. And then, what's the last one? It's Cher. It's Strong Enough, Cher.
Ooh.
That finishes out the EP, the last little moment. Very, very sexy stuff coming. I'm very excited to release everything else. See You Again is kind of like the earworm. It's kind of like that popular song. But these other ones that are coming are, I think Do What You Want is actually my favorite one that we're doing. So I'm very excited for that one to come out.
Wow.
Do you have music videos for all of them already, or?
So I have filmed 2 music videos, one of which is See You Again, which is currently out now on YouTube. And then Cataline has also filmed a second video for me for Do What You Want.
Very
So
exciting.
when Do What You Want comes out, there will be another video coming out as well.
Nice.
And then who knows? We'll see where things go.
And do you write your own songs too, or?
I don't. I really wish, maybe I need to get into it. I need probably a little assistance from somebody with the right, the right cogs and the right wheels that know how to turn and do that. I definitely have a lot of passion inside of me, and I have a lot of feelings. But like most people, I have my strengths and I have my weaknesses. Okay.
And that's why you find people to work with to help support the weaknesses
Yes.
and build on the strengths. So
Exactly. So if you want me to shake my ass, I'm ready to do that right now.
that is something that I can't do. I mean, I can shake it. I just can't do much else with it. So, so you, obviously you, I mean, it sounds like you were cast, even though they had a bunch of very, very fit men, you said at the audition, it sounds like you were cast because they were specifically looking for someone of your body type and everything. How would you say it is working in the industry and being a fat performer, as the terms I use? What is your experience been with that?
It's tough. It's kind of a double-edged sword because they will glorify you in the way that they'll be like, we are looking for the fattest, fat motherfucker, fat person we can find. And you're like, oh, great, I'll show up to that. But then there's the other auditions where you're like, I would be great at this role too. But they're like, oh, sorry, you're fat. You're too fat for this role. So, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to keep showing up. You got to let them know that you can take up space too, just as much as Troye Sivan or Padam. Hi, I'm also here, Kyle McIntyre, with my new single, See You Again. So, make sure you listen to that as well as I Feel the Rush.
Right.
Was when you got cast for Tick Tick Boom, were they specifically looking for someone of your type, or was that a...
I don't actually know. I have an agent, and they do a majority of that work, thank God, because, I wouldn't know the first thing, really. But basically, they send me emails, and they're like, hey, we need this information, send it in, and we'll throw it at them, slap it against the wall, and see what happens, So it's kind of one of those
I think
things
we're
where
having some audio issues on our side. Hang on one second. Josh, did you hear that, or is it just me?
I think it's just you.
Okay, all of a sudden you got really, really, you sound like a robot almost.
I mean, maybe Kyle is a robot. We don't know that. We don't know his. We don't get down deep into that.
I mean, everybody on this channel knows that I love robots, so
that's why your husband's nickname is Robot.
Robbie the Robot. So, and they he just texted me actually and says he's on his way home.
That's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Oh, Jalen heard it too. So it's not just you, Nakia. Jalen is also crazy. So
Troye Sivan heard me talking about him, and he said, we got to cut this feed immediately.
I really, really do love that Troye Sivan song, and it was co-written by Leland, and I'm a big fan of Leland's.
Oh, absolutely! I love his stuff on Drag Race.
Same, and I had the pleasure on Saturday night of being out at the Iron Bear, which is a local bear bar here in Austin, Texas, and I was dancing with my husband and two of our really good friends, and it was a blackout party, so all the everything was off except for the shorts and the shoes, and we were just having a good time. And he played Rush, and all of the crowd just lit up and was dancing and stuff. And then he segued into my song Unstoppable, and it was wild to see people continue to dance with to this song that they probably didn't know, but right next to that song, because he's played it before, I've heard it there before, but not like in the middle of a big dance party like that. It was just so cool to think like, oh man, something I created is like bringing people joy in this moment, and they also, are really into this other song that I really love. So that was just kind of an affirming moment for me as an artist.
That's why we do it.
Exactly. Have you had some moments like that you felt like were some positive things that really, aside from getting cast in the Epic Builders thing, like any things where you see people maybe reaching out to you and saying that, they see themselves in you, or any of that sort of stuff?
Oh, absolutely. I get tons and tons of messages on Instagram from bears, mostly horny bears. Jesus, they're horny.
Surprise, surprise.
What?
And that's how I met Cataline. He was in my DMs, and I started exploring his page a little bit, and I was like, wait a minute, you got some pretty nice production over here, you whore. You're gonna help me out.
I love that.
No, but there are tons of people who have amazing things to say about how they love my confidence and how they love that I just own who I am. And it's not, there's no excuse for why I need to be a certain way. It's just trying to live my truth as best I can and express art any way that I can, whether that's through dancing, through music, through acting, anything I can get my hands on, honestly. And I'm very, very new to the music scene. I would say I'm literally prepubescent. I am just getting my
the show is for adults only.
Okay. All right. I'm 18. I'm barely legal. There we go. I'm barely legal.
Do you find yourself feeling like you have to make sexier stuff because of the fact that people are responding so much to you in a sexual way?
I do. It definitely is something that I notice with my posts on social media. I'll post a very heartwarming post about something that I care about, and it'll get it'll get some likes on it. But then I'll post my nipples or my belly button or something like that, and it'll just gangbusters, blowing up, DMs, all of it. I'm like, yeah. Oh my. So yeah, it definitely is a part of culture, and you have to embrace it. You have to embrace it in a way that is fluid for your career, and is helpful to you, but also not something that you are comfortable with. There's a line. You just sort of have to dance with the line a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of what we make in Sidekick Productions is sex positive TV, because so much of television isn't that way, and films aren't that way. But it's definitely sort of a thing where I know that we have to navigate sort of. It's not just. It's not porn. It's meant to be art, stories, comedy, drama. It's all that stuff in there. So it's a little complex. It's for sure. So I'm with you on that. I know that I want to make people happy, but I also want to make sure that I also want people to watch it for more than just the arousal factor. So.
Right, for sure. And I agree with you. It's always, I always try to come at it with an art angle. So even if it's a photo that I'm posting on social media, I want it to have some artistry to it. It's not just me being like, here's everything, take it all. It's more of like, here's some of it, you might have it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's kind of like those OnlyFans profiles where they don't post any nudes. It's like almost nude. You almost get it for $10.99, but.
No, we talk about that a lot here because our fans are constantly asking Joshua to start an OnlyFans where he doesn't post full nudes.
Well, I think they want to. I think our fans want full nudes, but
Well,
Oh,
but
they
if you-
definitely do.
Joshua
Yeah.
wouldn't post full nudes. Is the difference? So.
yeah. You do have to find balance when it comes to making art, absolutely. And speaking of OnlyFans, I think that's it's funny we're talking about that because I started my OnlyFans almost a year ago. Actually, it's a year ago next month because I was just getting it set up when Joshua and I were in San Diego last year for Comic-Con, which I don't know if y'all saw on my Instagram story yesterday. Was it yesterday?
I think it was today.
No, it was yesterday because it was the 23rd. I posted it. It's been a year since we went to the What You Do in the Shadows premiere with Harvey and had such a good time. And shout out to him again for inviting. Just such a again, like a really good experience for Joshua and I to like go out and see that part of the industry and stuff together. But anyway,
How away we are from it. So.
I know exactly. But Kyle, you wait, how do we get to Comic-Con? What were we talking about?
I don't know that you went on that journey.
You're talking about your OnlyFans.
Oh right, OnlyFans. So anyway, it was about a
OnlyFans
year
girl.
ago that I was getting it all set up. And originally my intention was for it to be mostly very what I was calling at the time bourgeois photos. And I even had Catalan shoot an entire photo shoot, with hair and makeup, the whole thing, and they look great, but they're, unfortunately, what I've learned in the process is that is not what gets the most engagement on OnlyFans.
No.
I mean, we also that same day took nude photos of me, and they get engagement on OnlyFans as well, but they don't get the same kind of engagement that like things that look more candid and not professional get. And I get that 100%, and, for sure. But my point in all this is that I was so resistant to it, despite years of people asking me to do it, because I was worried about what other people might think about me. And the more that I do it, the more that it actually helps me to not really give a fuck about what other people think. And actually, as Joshua and I were discussing before the show, it's really helping me with my own body dysmorphia right now because I lost so much weight at the end of last year from the jaw surgery. And I still don't, well, I'm never going to look the way that I used to look because my face has changed, but I'm still having a hard time recognizing myself, I guess, especially a smaller version of myself. And I'm also having, this sounds really shitty, maybe, I don't know, but I feel like it's relevant. I'm also having really strange, feelings when people tell me that I look great and that, wow, or you look so much better. What are you doing? Or hey, Ozempic, or, whatever it is, like, and, I don't know that I feel great. And then on top of that, it makes me think like, well, wait, didn't I look great before? Like
we're conditioned as a society to compliment and praise weight loss because it seems to be that you've done something successful because society has dictated that thin people are happier and more successful. I mean, there was a whole TV series called You're Killing Your Kids or something like that, where they would show aged photo. They would show parents photos of their children 15, 20 years later from then, as if they had grown up, living the lifestyle they currently lived. And they were always bald and hairless and riddled with acne and frowning and miserable. And then after the end of the show, they would show them all the changes they'd made with their children and what they would look like now based on those changes.
I never heard of this.
And the children were the adults were they had full heads of hair and they were smiling and glowing and radiant. And this was all part of a paper that I wrote in grad school on the manipulation through images and all that. It's because obviously being fat or being thin means you won't lose your hair, and being fat means you will lose your hair. There's all sorts of things that are going on there. So of course people are just like, oh, you lost weight, congratulations, you look so wonderful.
Yeah.
Most people should realize that they need to not talk about your weight at all, especially if they're not doing it in some sort of like mating ritual kind of way. Like if they come up to you and you're like, oh, you're so handsome, I really enjoy your body, that's one thing. But if they're just this person's coming up to you, Nakia, you're so thin now, congratulations.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mr. Skinny, that kind of stuff, and it just feels weird. And I was really, I mean, Josh, you know this, I was really getting really comfortable with my dad bod,
Yeah.
And so it feels weird. But again, my point in all of this was to say that you, Kyle, were talking about how you kind of just have to embrace it, right? And own it. That's one of the things you said. And what I feel like by stepping into this space on this platform and posting these nudes and stuff is it does help me to kind of like really feel a lot more positive about the way that I look. It does help me to appreciate when other people appreciate me instead of like trying to dodge compliments and stuff,
Sure.
And it also makes me some money sometimes. So that's not a bad thing.
Can't be mad at that.
Right. It's not a lot of money, but the same thing with my Patreon, patreon.com/Nakia. You can, you can join for as little as $3 a month. When that's what most people join at. Now, OnlyFans is $10 a month. I figure if you want to see me naked, you got to pay for it. But
that's right.
Anyway, I think that it's important that we are owning those spaces, like you're saying, and owning our bodies and not letting people dictate to us the way that we should show them off.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've dealt with plenty of body image issues myself, as I feel like everyone deals with those in some way. My father was very, very critical of my body growing up. Like I said before, my brothers and I, we were all wrestlers. So weight was very important to, wrestling and your weight class and maintaining your weight class. And it was very something that my dad, probably took a little too seriously. And, he had remarks and things to say about me sometimes when I had my shirt off. And, the funny thing is that he thought he was saying things that would make me be like, oh God, I'm so ugly and I hate myself. But in reality, I actually loved myself more. I realized that, he is falling for the, societal norms, the things that have been programmed into him. And I don't know, that never got to me. It never hit me the same way. And I always knew, I was always telling myself, I feel sexy. I am sexy. I know I'm sexy. And I don't need to prove it to him or to anyone else. I just need to keep living. I just keep living. That's really what it's all about, is just not worrying about it, because at the end of the day, you're going to go to sleep and wake up the same. And, you get to do it all over every day. So you just embrace what you have and fuck everybody else. I think Monique said it best. She said, fuck you skinny bitches.
Well, obviously we want to embrace everybody, regardless of their size. But it is nice to know that there are more people out there who are being more open-minded about what it means to be fat, what it means to be big or a person of size. There's a lot of conversation around it. There could always be more. Certainly, very big issue in what Josh does and what he creates. It's really we probably wouldn't have any of it if it really didn't have that core mission of trying to really not even destigmatize so much being fat on camera, but just normalize, like, it's just we're all just people, we're all just the same, bags of stardust. But some of us just happen to be bigger than others, or smaller than others, or whatever. So it's always a plus for me to remember that I get to be a part of this world that Josh has created. And that there's so many fans that watch this and the shows that Sidekick produces, who believe in what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And hopefully those people will go believe in what you're doing and what you're trying to do. We want them to all head over and make sure to follow Kyle McChicken on Instagram. You can find him on YouTube. In fact, you know what I just realized that I can do is I can post the link to that actual video right here. There we go. And so now if anybody in the comments wants to go click it and make sure to subscribe while you're over there, that is the direct link, and it's in everyone. Someone asked, I'm at work. Did Ada show up yet? No, she will be here in the next 15 minutes. And then during that time,
she's beating that mug. She's beating that mug right now.
Probably so. The next time, and then once Ada is with us, we will have, about 5-10 minutes of overlap with everybody in the room together. And then we will say goodbye, see you later to Kyle, and then spend the rest of our evening, or most of the rest of our evening, with Ada Vox. If you're just joining us, my name is Nakia, and this is my co-host Joshua Pangborn, and our first guest tonight on Sidekick Power Hour is Kyle McChicken already. Kyle McIntyre, right here, who has a brand new single out called "See You Again." It's it's the same song you're thinking of by Miley Cyrus, but it's Kyle's version with a fantastic video shot by our dear friend Catalin Stillian, who did Midas Touch, Hate Sex, Dream Big. He did My Dream Big video. Which was directed by Joshua R. Pangborn, or produced by, I guess it was more produced. I don't know. Was it? How do we build
co-directed
that?
it? Co-directed
it. That's more
and produced. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's more like it. But we had such a good time doing it, and did our promo video, which we'll watch. We'll use that as our next commercial break.
That's a 5-minute commercial break.
Well, but we need time to prep, so that's fine. And that also will give Kyle a little bit of a chance to freshen up if
All right.
He needs
to. Before we go though, Kyle has a few more questions in the audience.
So. No, we're not leaving yet. We've still got about 7 or 8 minutes for Kyle.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, for example, Big Boy Project would like to know, when working on set, did they provide you with clothes, or did you have to bring your own? We've talked about this before with Dominic Burgess a couple weeks ago, how and I've shared as well that it's complicated sometimes being not straight sized on set, and having to have wardrobe help you with that.
So with the Epic Builder commercials, I was very fortunate to do fittings with them, and they provided all the clothing that was involved with the shoot. Same with Tick Tick Boom. I went to Steiner Studios in Brooklyn, New York, and they pulled from the stock. I'm sure it was John Goodman's, or I don't know whose, somebody nice and big. And same thing with the Drew Barrymore commercial. All those clothes were provided for me. It was a toga, which is basically a bed sheet. So,
I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to show a little bit of that for our viewers at home, and then let's take a look. This is we're kind of zoomed in right to the spot where Kyle joins Drew Barrymore in this commercial for Bingo Blitz.
Millions of players have already discovered a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz. Download now. It's free.
Bingo Blitz.
Bingo Blitz, y'all.
Bingo Blitz.
I love that.
How long did that take to film?
That was just one day. We had one rehearsal the day before, and then the day of the shoot, Drew Barrymore showed up, and yeah, it was a quick 12-hour.
Oh, Drew Barrymore wasn't part of the rehearsals?
No. No, they had a Drew stunt double who was there for everything else.
Right.
Who did everything that they needed to do. So she was actually on a robotic chair that spun around. So those were real sets. Each of those sets behind us, those were all real sets. There was some green screen involved as well.
Right.
It was actually a sound stage. It was it was in Brooklyn, and what was it called? Oh shoot! It was huge.
Studio.
I mean, yeah, probably a Fox Studio sound. No, like legitimately, it was a humongous soundstage that they built this whole set of Italy and India and Indiana Jones and Greece and Paris, and basically they had Drew in this robotic chair that would just literally, like the scrambler, just like throw her into each scene, and we would just sort of bop in behind her as our characters. The casting for this was a John Belushi lookalike from Animal House.
Well, I mean, you definitely, especially with the faces, you were given it.
Yeah, I definitely did some character study beforehand, a couple shoulders, and yeah, I was like, I'm Irish, but we're gonna make it work. I'll put a little hairspray in, and make it look like I got some curls, and I don't know. You just show up to these things. You don't ask questions.
You just do your best to give them what they want.
Exactly, and yeah, just it's those self tapes, man. I love a camera. The camera loves me. What can I say?
I love self tapes. Everyone is saying that they want to go back in person auditions, and I'm like, no, please.
The amount of stress that goes away from being at home and being in your own space where you can focus and not worry about, oh, they're watching me. It's like I can really do the work and get it where I want it to be.
I've wanted to play this a little bit in the background as we're closing out, since we didn't get to show this earlier. This is Kyle McIntyre's version of 3090 from Tick Tick Boom. You can find it over.
Tick Tick Boom.
What'd you say?
It's the opening song of Tick Tick Boom.
Correct.
The musical.
And let's take a listen for a second.
Back it up. Time to refocus before they wrap it up.
And as we were talking earlier, of course, Kyle had the distinct pleasure of spending about 14 hours about 5 feet away from Andrew Garfield when he was in Tick Tick Boom. Or should we say, I guess, technically Lin-Manuel Miranda's Tick Tick Boom on Netflix, which, of course, we all loved. But I haven't seen it since I had this information that you were in it. So I have to now go back and rewatch it. But you're saying if we blink, we'll miss you. Are you still there?
Hey, yes, sorry. I was having a little bit of a disconnect for a second.
It's okay. You're just staring at yourself. That's all. No worries.
Yes. Sorry. Can you repeat your question?
My question, it wasn't real so much a question.
Which song are you in Tick Tick Boom?
Right.
Oh, I'm in 3090. I'm in the opening sequence of the movie.
Okay, gotcha.
We filmed at the Strand Theater. Worked with Ryan Heffington. He was the choreographer. He did the Chandelier music video. He did the musical number on Euphoria, the boys in the gym, and he did some choreography on RuPaul's Drag Race in the early seasons with Raja in the finale. And then of course Lin-Manuel Miranda directing was awesome. And then I told you before, being literal feet from Andrew Garfield and just sort of, giving him the eyes. He was so focused on his work. He is a true professional. You know, he was in it the whole time, so there wasn't a lot of time to flirt, but I wanted to.
You talk a lot about Drag Race. Do you do drag as well, or?
I've dabbled in drag before. Oh, it's so hard. Drag is so difficult.
Our next guest will know what you're talking about at all there. So
we are definitely going to talk more
clue.
about that when we get Ada in here, because I think most of our fans know that I have done drag and did drag for an entire year, and would have probably kept doing drag had it not been for the pandemic. But that's another story. But I have very strong thoughts on it that I'm happy to share when we get Ada Vox in here in just a few
another
minutes.
Question too. Anthony Murphy wants to know what you're wearing to see Beyonce. So I guess you're going to see Beyonce.
Yes. So this is my friend Anthony Murphy. He actually directed both of these music videos that you showed today. He is a Broadway performer. He's actually in Titanic right now off Broadway. He's playing Victor Garber in Titanic. And he's also, he was in Diana, the musical on Broadway, and he was the genie in Aladdin. He's fantastic. You guys should definitely have him on your show.
I wonder if he was the genie when we saw it.
He was in it. He was on the national tour. He started the national tour.
Okay, gotcha.
The first year. So,
well, you're right. We'll definitely have to have him on the show. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
you should. He's phenomenal. He's a choreographer, director, fantastic singer. He's awesome. And to answer his question, I will be wearing a two-piece Johnny Big. If you're not familiar, big boys, Johnny Big is actually the brand of this shirt as well. It's an Australian company, and they have sizes up to like 8XL.
Wow.
And it is a phenomenal company. They have great clothing, great stretch, you know, nothing is too tight, and
well, sometimes we like it, and sometimes you like it tight though.
Oh, it's always tight. It's always tight.
I have a song called Keep It. So it's just called Tight, but it says Keep It So Tight. Kyle, I'm so glad that you joined us. We are going to get a quick break in for folks who are just joining us. This is Sidekick Power Hour. We do this every Monday night right now for season 3. Joshua and I started this because of the pandemic. We did this as a way to help get the stuff that had already been created out, and then kind of bring in the stuff that we were creating that we had to pause and then figure out how to finish.
And create a sense of community among queer, fat positive, sex positive creators. So
yeah, and that's I think we kind of accidentally fell more into that than we did when we first started out. I don't know that we had like a super duper big long plan.
It was always in the back of my mind. I wanted to do something like that. I just didn't. I was bad at connecting with people, and you've been so helpful with that, Nakia, connecting with people. So,
well, connecting with people sometimes means just constantly badgering them, or like, all right, we're not even going to get to.
I was going to say my worst nightmare releasing music right now is literally just sending DMs to my friends like, "Don't you love me? Share my stuff, please share it."
Yeah. It's hard sometimes, especially when you're independent, and I think that's definitely something we can talk with Ada about, because I know that she's been at it like me for a minute, and has had a lot of great moments that I can't wait to talk about, and she's got a lot of great moments coming up, because she's got some really cool stuff to talk about tonight. So when we come back, we will be joined by Ada Vox. You might know her from America Talent, you might know her from American Idol, you might know her from Queen of the Universe, but I can remember seeing her name in like the San Antonio Express, and I would be playing shows in San Antonio, and I could see her being, you know, advertised for stuff, and so super excited to have her on. We will be right back with Kyle McIntyre, even though I almost said Kyle McChicken again. Kyle McIntyre and Ada Vox joining myself and Joshua R. Pangborn for another episode of Sidekick Power Hour that we do every week right here on the YouTube channel, on the Twitch, on Facebook and wherever else they'll have us. I guess it used to be Twitter, but now it's called X. So whatever. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Okay, money shots, go boys, 2 minutes, places.
I can't believe I let Hunter talk me into this, especially along somebody like you. Dad, what are you doing?
You know, I dreamed a lot of things when I was in that coma for 6 months. One of those things was you, Anthony.
Cut! I think we got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Joshua R. Pangborn, and we are SideKick Productions. We are an independent production company dedicated to telling queer, fat-positive stories. Well, thank you, Yolanda.
You're welcome, sweetie.
Could you get ready for the next scene?
Yeah, but can somebody tell me where that dildo water pistol is?
Oh, I saw it. I'll show you.
We're a group of mostly queer artists who are dedicated to telling the stories that we aren't seeing anyone else tell, with actors and artists who are often kept out of the spotlight.
Derek, I know I said it would be a dream come true to meet a real-life witch, but no, I'm not so sure.
Oh, gee, what was it? The impending torture that changed your mind?
Soon, the demonologist and the detective will be no more, and my house will be complete.
How much longer do I need to hold still?
Just one more take.
Demon Doctor, scene 76, take 93.
We each come with a diverse set of skills. And when we don't know how to do something, we teach ourselves.
Like how Paul became an award-winning makeup artist. Oh, hey, Josh.
Oh, or how Nakia became an award-winning composer and sound designer.
I've got this great idea for a new show. It's called Cricket Cabaret. It's a musical show.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna write you some lyrics.
Okay, great.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Do it?
Could you change into your diaper?
Yeah, can I? I mean, if you want me to.
We wear a lot of hats.
I'm sure you can take another one.
Oh, he can take it.
But that's just all part of being an independent filmmaker.
Exactly.
Whoops, I dropped this. As we've grown, we pushed ourselves in front of and behind the camera, even producing our first feature-length musical, which I co-wrote with Nakia. Oh, hey, here are those lyrics you asked for Cricket Cabaret.
Everyone else sees so many different hues, a rainbow of colors from which they can choose. But in my world, the colors are gray. Am I just broken or differently made?
Loved it. But I have some notes. It's front and back.
Look, Simon, I'm telling you, something's not sitting right with me in this case.
Well, Edward, that's because you slept with the main suspect. And he manipulated you into getting him off. Figuratively with the law, and literally with the climax. And now you're having second thoughts because you found the murder weapon in his sock drawer.
No, that's not it.
God, this fool.
Was somebody looking for this earlier?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Whoops. We started with our queer soap opera, and have since branched into other genres, including horror and mockumentary. Oh, Emmy, are you sure this just isn't too risque?
Oh, Felix, have you seen the teen moms we've had to compete with in our time slot? Squirt me, Nana. Squirt me.
Anything for my granddaughter!
Oh, so wet.
Wiggling, y'all.
Is it weird that this is turning me on?
Join the club, Oscar. Right?
Sorry.
The batteries are dead.
The batteries are dead. Are you serious? The battery?
Oh, we're still recording.
We love working together, and we make mistakes like anyone does. That's what we do, and it's okay.
We are SideKick Productions. We are queer. We are fat. We are allies.
We are people who have stories to tell, who want to share them with you. And we have so much more to bring to the world. So come with us and become a part of the Crooniverse we are creating.
And you can become a part of what we're creating by subscribing over at patreon.com/Sidekick Productions. Any little bit helps. We really appreciate it. And as we said earlier, we're really enjoying the Discord right now that's provided as part of that to our members. You can join the Discord and get to chat directly with us and all the folks from the Crooniverse that have joined, like Ashley and Stuart and Alex Cologne and so many others. So shout out to everybody in our Discord server as well. We really appreciate it. Now let's welcome to Sidekick Power Hour. I am so excited to have her joining us tonight. Please welcome Ada Vox.
Hello, beautiful people. How are y'all doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. It's so wonderful to see all of your beautiful faces.
Oh, thank you. You as well. We have been having a good time tonight talking to our friend here, Kyle McIntyre, who I think you had got in backstage early enough that you got to see a little bit of him performing. Very talented fellow right here. Now, I believe, Kyle, you are in New York, right?
I am.
And Ada, are you still in San Antonio?
No, I live in Las Vegas.
You live in Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
Wow, I did not know that. When did that happen?
I moved to Las Vegas May of last year. So we've been here now just over a year.
Right on. Are you loving it?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's closer, easier for, making progress. There's just nowhere to grow in my type of career in Texas.
Sure. Yeah. No, and to be fair, Texas is trying to actively move people like us out. They're legislating and ordinancing out the ass to try to do anything they can to get rid of queer people or any really marginalized voices, especially trans people. It's really bad here. So I know a lot of artists and a lot of queer people who are leaving Texas. And to be frank, if my husband's job offered him a job somewhere else, I wouldn't say no. And Ada, I mean, Austin is the live music capital of the world. This is where I've made my career and where I've done fairly well for myself as a singer here. But it just doesn't outweigh the fact that it's a constant battle with when I'm gonna have to fucking worry about what's going on down the street, or if they're coming for me or whatever. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad that you are in Las Vegas. I will be in Vegas. When are we going? Well, Robert's not here, so he can't tell me. But I think I think we're going to the weekend of the 8th to see Adele, September 8th.
Oh, wonderful!
And then we're going to be there to see U2 in November.
Great.
Really stoked. So I'll have to check your calendar and see if you're performing around then.
It's funny. I didn't move to Vegas to perform, so I don't perform very much here locally.
Wow.
My work is touring the world.
Sure,
which is
right.
Another reason Vegas was a good choice. Great airport.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's really smart, Ada. Wow. That's why you're like, it's okay.
Real estate
but
too.
She's a real estate tycoon as well. That's it. That's what it is.
She's something.
So you have been, like I said, you've been at it around the same time that I have, is when I first started kind of seeing you here and there in local Texas stuff. And it's again because these areas are so small, especially if you're queer or any of that stuff. It just makes it so much easier to kind of see people in crossing, but sometimes never actually meet. That happened with us with Chris Conde at the beginning of this season. He was from San Antonio and now lives in Brooklyn, but he was always in Austin, but I would never see him, or I was always in San Antonio and I would never see him. So we finally have connected here. But when you were in Texas, the did you find it hard then to kind of navigate playing live music venues, as opposed to drag venues, or even, booking drag gigs? Was that difficult for you as someone who didn't fit into the normal boxes of what Texas Hill Country music is?
Yeah, I don't fit into any box.
That's
and
right.
That's the thing. I don't even fit into the drag box.
Exactly.
So it's been difficult for me since the very beginning. People don't realize, but I've been singing professionally for going on 20 years.
Right.
And I just turned 30. So I've been doing this the vast majority of my life. Obviously well before Ada was ever a thing.
Sure.
And when I was younger, I would play venues like the Cadillac Bar and other things downtown. I was headlining on maybe not the main festival stages when I was young,
Right.
whatever, but I was playing the stages at things like Oyster Bake in San Antonio and Fiesta and everything.
Yeah.
So I was working regularly,
Right.
headlining and performing at festivals and things of that nature. But when I became, I'd say when it was more obvious that I was a queer person as I became a young adult, I even was turned away from the program that I was working with, where I was getting all of these types of opportunities and performing regularly and doing all of this,
Right.
because the parents of the other kids didn't want their kids around me.
Oh, wow.
So I had to start being careful. I had to stop going to my classes. I had to stop doing a bunch of things that made it a little more difficult for me to feel like I had space to do that. And then a few years down the line, I created Ada. Lo and behold, I've never lip synced a day in my life, baby. No, ma'am. So the clubs were always a little, I don't know about this. Like, you don't do regular drag. And you know how Texas is. It's the pageant girls. It's the glamour. It's the lip sync divas and the high kicks and splits. So that just wasn't me.
Right.
So I fit the mold. I worked to fit the mold by being the live singing queen who also did high kicks and splits.
Nice.
So I would sing live while doing splits off of stages.
Oh, wow.
That was 150 pounds ago. But so it was that, and but I've struggled so long to find my place, even in Texas. And when I was working with another entertainment company that hired musicians like myself to do gigs that were corporate events, I did gigs for Coca-Cola, I did gigs for like gas station, major gas brands and stuff like that, big corporate events, and I did like the Fiesta Councils and all the other stuff. They told me a couple of times, we don't know if this client is going to be okay with you on stage, and that's with me out of drag.
Wow.
And because I only do this when I'm getting the Ada check.
Sure.
Period.
Right.
But it was before Ada even existed. They were telling me, I don't know if we can have you for this gig because the clientele is this and this and this.
Because you were too queer for them.
Yeah, and I don't even consider myself exceptionally like flamboyant or anything like that. When I am out of drag, I wear t-shirts and basketball shorts, and that is my attire for everything.
That sounds like me and Nadine Hughes. I saw Nadine Hughes at the airport one day.
I love Nadine.
She's so awesome. And I was like, girl, I feel you. I feel you.
But that's how I live. I look like a homeless person on the daily.
Sure.
But I also, at the same time, I look like a homeless lesbian.
Okay, gotcha.
So, people, I have people confused as to whether I'm a trans woman or trans man, neither of which I am.
Right.
I'm just a cisgender boy. But I get attacked for things like that. Like, oh, you're a disgusting trans person. You're this, you're this, you're this. Oh, you're gay. Oh, you're blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, honey, I'm not even any of those things. So I can't even imagine what my trans brothers and sisters are experiencing.
Right.
Actually being trans people. Yeah.
Well, I bring that up too, and the other thing you mentioned 150 pounds ago. One of the things that we talk about a lot here is just what it's like to be a bigger person, to be a fat person in entertainment and existing in that space. And as you probably saw in the promo reel when we were taking our break, it's certainly a big part of what we do, is trying to really create as fat people and like getting out there. But we were talking earlier just about like some of the issues that we've experienced just because of the size that we were or are. And I'm curious if I know for me, when I was on The Voice, they actually were very pro, like, he's a big boy. They wanted me to embrace it. But you actually, have been through this ringer on more than one occasion, and on multiple franchises. And so I'm curious what that experience was like for you, especially as we were talking about things like costuming and stuff. I know for me, like they literally had to take me to like big and tall stores and stuff to get my clothes. So I'd love to hear, what that was like for you.
Yeah, it's interesting bringing up the role of plus size people in entertainment, because I feel like more often than not, we're not just cast because we're good, we're typecast because we're big.
Right.
And I think that it's always like, ooh, this is the funny fat friend. We need someone to fill this role. It's never just the funny friend. It's a specific stereotype, the funny fat friend.
Right.
And when you're on television shows, it's all typecasting too. They're going to have at least one person that hits all these racial or ethnic categories. They're going to have a person with an eating disorder. They're going to have somebody who's fat. They're going to have someone with a disability. They're going to have that's just how TV works.
Right.
And people may not know that, but that's how it is. It's all typecasting.
Yep.
Talent comes secondary.
Especially on those shows.
Yeah. For me, the first time I was on American Idol, which was 10 years ago, some people know.
As Adam, correct?
Yes, as Adam.
Yeah.
So when I went through my preliminary auditions, I had just finished marching band, marching band summer out of high school. And so I was super dark. I'm Mexican. I tan really, really dark naturally. I was super dark. I still had braces on. I dressed in stretchy black pants and plaid button-up shirts with a Justin Bieber haircut. And I was chubby. So everything about me was, this is a funny casting that we could typecast. And of course I was talented, but I had auditioned for the show since season 10. I had auditioned twice in season 10, twice in season 11, and then I made it on to season 12.
Right.
But the difference was I had those little quirks. I dressed a little different. I had a different haircut. I had braces. I had, my skin was dark, all those different things. So as a plus size person, I kind of feel used to being and using to my advantage things like my size. People may say, well, why do you want to be the fat person? I said, because it gets me the part. And it's like, honey, if I'm going to be a big girl, I may as well use it to my advantage while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And like even on Queen of the Universe, I was the plus size queen. Things like that. Like Drag Race always has a plus size girl, always has, those types of different things. So I'm used to using it to my advantage, in order to give my talent a platform to succeed. In terms of getting dressed, I don't know if it was because I'm big or just because I was a drag artist on Idol, but everything that I wore once they start dressing you for the show was custom.
Right.
They couldn't. The sponsor was Macy's, and they were just not going to dress me in Macy's.
Right.
So they had to have everything custom made.
Right.
Whatever the reason was, I was fine with it.
Good. Well,
you get to keep the clothes.
and I did.
Yeah, and I kept all mine too. Kyle, let's take a minute to say goodbye to you and thank you for coming on, and then we will shift back over to Ada. What a pleasure to have you on. I want to remind everybody that you can find Kyle as Kyle McChicken on Instagram, but it's Kyle McIntyre at YouTube. and pretty much everywhere else. And of course, as we said earlier, if you want to go find that, you can click this in the link that we put in the comments. It's in the YouTube, it's in the Facebook, it's in the Twitch, all there for you. Kyle, when is the next single coming out?
Do What You Want will be coming out on August 11th.
Okay, we'll be looking for it, and we will definitely share your stuff the rest of the week. Thanks again for being with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Nice seeing you, Kyle.
Yes, Ada. Loved you on Queen of the Universe.
Thank you. Somebody did.
We all did.
You were a star. You know it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, Kyle, thanks again for joining us. And if you are just joining us, my name is Nakia, and this is my co-host, Joshua R. Pangborn. And our guest, our second guest tonight for Sidekick Power Hour is Ada Vox, coming to us live from Vegas, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So, Ada, we were talking about American Idol. Obviously, you right now have just finished, or have. Wait, how far behind am I on these things? America's Got Talent All Stars, correct? Is this what
no, not All Stars. It's just a regular America's Got Talent season.
America's Got Talent, gotcha.
It's
But
full
All
of stars,
Stars, there is an All Stars for AGT, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I wish they would do an American Idol All Stars. I would have loved to be on that.
Girl, if we could get the Voice All Stars, I would love that. That would be amazing.
I would love to see both of them. Yes.
The Voice All Stars is a thing in France, Australia, and one other country.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
already. So, and I know from talking to the producers that they have considered it, but maybe they're waiting for like a big anniversary or something. I don't know. But I'll be here. Call me. Yeah. So, because you've been through several franchises, you do have a very unique perspective, because not only have you been through several franchises, but you've been to the end of all of them, and that is something that I think is, people think, probably because there's a plethora of this available on television, that, like anybody can do this stuff and it's easy, but it's not. And first of all, you have to have the talent or it doesn't fly, especially if the joke isn't what they're going for, or especially if, like in your case, somebody cast you for the joke, you turn it on them and be like, look here, motherfucker, this is what it's really about.
Exactly. And that's how I've looked at every single thing that I take on. I know as Ada that when it comes to these reality shows, I'm going to be the token drag queen.
Right.
But I also know that I can be the token talented bitch that shows up as someone who may be considered an underdog or a joke, but really comes up and shows out.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that I'm so comfortable leaning into what I do as an artist and the way that I present on stage, is because I'm confident in who I am underneath all of it. And I know what I have to offer regardless of what I'm wearing. And that's where I continue doing what I do. And I think that's why I continue being cast. Because, a lot of these shows, once you're on one, the other ones don't want you.
Right.
And it's competition. They don't want to see their contestants going to and from, especially not so close. Like if there's not 10 years in between, they don't want to see you on another TV show.
Right.
But I've been lucky enough because I think not only do I fit their typecasting, but they know that my talent and confidence cannot be denied. And I think that that's what kind of carries me over from place to place.
It does. You really have got a very natural presence on camera, both as a performer, but also just as as what they most commonly refer to behind the scenes as like the reality section of your show, right? It's like where they're talking to you one-on-one or they're watching you talk to other people. It's just obvious that first and foremost that you are a professional, but you're also very real and accessible in a way that I don't think that everybody can do. Josh, how would you describe it?
Well, it's I mean, back when I used to watch American Idol regularly, it was always the X Factor that Simon Cowell would talk about. It's like there's some things that just you can't teach that, or you can't have you can't study it. It's just something that's inside of you. And I mean, some people like you, Ada, I think have that. You're natural on camera. You fuse personality and confidence. Even if you maybe not are feeling it all the time, you still fuse it, and that's what matters. So I mean, you're
Well,
giving
thank you.
natural performer. So I was a huge fan of yours on Queen of the Universe. I was a huge and I was so excited when Nakia said you were coming on the show because you were such a talent to watch. So
Thank you very much. It's funny that you say those things. I get both ends of the spectrum. One, the film crews and production crews love me because I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this a long time. I can pretty much do everything in one take, 2 takes. You know, sometimes they have you do the same damn line 115 times. I'm usually a first time person. So they love me for that. They love me. They love me because I'm not nervous, so I can easily be myself and be kind. Whereas other people who are stressed out can lash out or have nasty attitudes when working on set and things like that because they don't know how to control themselves or how to act. But I hear it from the audience that say she has no personality. There's nothing there. She's speaking so professionally and matter-of-factly. It's not relatable. So I think it's one way or the other. The industry professionals love me,
right?
But the general person who wants more of a wants more of that finds me underwhelming at times. And I say, honey, if professionalism is underwhelming, then let me underwhelm you all day. I've been doing this too long. I've been media trained my whole life, been on stages, on cameras, on radio shows, on TV for forever.
Right.
So this is just how I am on the daily basis. The way that I'm speaking to you is how I speak to my friends.
Sure.
It's how I speak to, there's no reason to be anything other than me, whether I'm on or off camera. I might be a little more foul off camera, but aside from that, nothing about me changes.
When you're censor free.
Yeah. In or out of drag, on or off camera.
Sure.
I am always this person.
That's awesome.
I love that you say that though, because I feel like I get that a lot too, because I feel like when I'm on set or when I'm working with people, they're like, you're so professional, you know what you're doing, you always come in, you know what you're doing, you get it done, and then boom, you're done. But then other people are like, especially when I meet new people, they're like, you're so cold and so frigid when we meet you, and I'm like, I'm just professional, I guess. It's a frustrating thing to because I always feel like I'm on all the time, because that's sort of just how I am. I'm always like, I'm ready for the next thing, and then
Well, you share something with Ada too that I think is very interesting. Is you started as a child. You were modeling and stuff as a child, and you were told.
Oh, excuse me.
you were told how to walk, how to talk, all these types of things. So even if you didn't have those things naturally, which I think you do, I think they were encouraged by that kind of early training, and that I think again is such a it's so refreshing to me as a musician and singer especially, who also happens to have done drag, and realize, like, number one, being a woman is very expensive and painful. And it takes a lot of getting used to. But number two, that I really enjoyed it, and I would be into doing it more often. And I think I would have done it more often had the circumstances not played out the way they were. And I'm very content where I am now. But that doesn't mean that when I heard about Queen of the Universe that I didn't send them a tape. You can go on my Facebook if you want, or Instagram, and you can find the story. But years ago, I actually was RuPaul was my guest at a party. It's a really long story we won't get into here, but I literally dug up that old email even and sent it straight to that's a whole other story. Anyway, but because of that perspective that I had now, that when Queen of the Universe first came out, I was like, oh wow, this is hard. Like this is because there was a couple times that I sang in drag, and I wasn't used to, I had worn Spanx before on The Voice and stuff, but not like a full corset and stuff, and then try to also sing. My diaphragm was not prepared.
Oh yeah, I was doing it in steel-boned corsetry and Spanx and breasts, everything,
Right.
Pulled up and wigs on there
Right.
and everything.
Right.
Yeah, you got to do it, baby.
Yeah, it's not easy. And so when I saw you on Queen of the Universe, because I have to tell you that like your first appearance on Idol, I didn't know anything about because it was the year after The Voice, and I was like on this whirlwind, right? And so it was too much going on for me to even. I didn't want to watch TV. I was so burned out on TV actually at the time, but when you hit Queen of the Universe, I had already heard of you at that point. I had seen stuff from Idol. I think it was with Katy Perry. Is that your season with her, right? And Luke Bryan. Yeah. Okay. So, but then you came on Queen of the Universe. I was like, damn. That to me, I think, seeing you in that setting in an international stage, that's when I realized, I was like, damn, she is like a total star,
Oh, thank you.
You did so well and did such a great job on there. But again, I think if it's weird for me to hear that people think you're too cold or not connecting or whatever, because to me on this end of the TV, I was like, oh my God, she's amazing.
Well, thank you. And what I like about it is that people that see me on TV that do think I might be a little cold or whatever it may be, when they meet me in person, they actually realize that I'm very nice, but I'm also very maternal. It's very natural to me to want to take care of people and help people, and I want to hug them, and I want, when I meet people, I want to put my arms around them and love them. That's just how I am. That's just my temperament. That's what I like to do.
So you're naturally really warm instead of cold.
Yeah, well, and that's what people understand when they meet me.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh wow, you're not like I thought you would be in person." And it's usually one, you're bigger than I thought you'd be, or two, you're a lot nicer than I expected you to be, because they thought that I was cold or just kind of are very matter of fact on television, which I am. That's just but it doesn't mean that I'm not a warm, loving, welcoming person. And people that have met me in person know that. Like Susan Keogh here. Susan's come to a couple of my shows. Wonderful supporter out in New Jersey. Hi, Susan.
Honey, you had a bunch of comments in here from international people waiting for you at like 1 a.m. and then they were like so elated to find out that we were recording it so they could go to bed. But people love you all over. And I think that's, again, you are shining in a time when it's literally dangerous to be doing so in a lot of places. And it's so important, I think, that people can see you and can experience you and realize that you are more than just a wig and a pair of tits or whatever, that you're a real person that has real feelings and that it's just trying to make an honest living like everybody else is,
Yeah.
And
yeah, and in the world today, like you mentioned, it is dangerous and it is scary to do like something that I do and be the center of attention on a huge festival stage. You never know who's going to come out from where and do what. I have had multiple gigs over this year cancel because of violent threats that were made to the organizations and the promoters. So they're threatening to cause what can I say? I don't know, cause death. I will just straight out say to the people in attendance, to me as the artist, to the other performers, to the organizers. It's you need to stop sexualizing the kids and you're blah 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 blah. I said, honey, I don't want nothing to do with your damn kids. I'm just trying to get up there, sing in my gown and call it a day, get my check. But we are being accused and demonized and so many crazy things. Yeah. And I get messages almost every single day from people saying that they are willing and ready to take my life if I make an appearance in their town. Because I have actual people threatening my life just because I am going to be performing in their town, and if they find me, they're going to get me before I get to the kids.
I have to ask you, Ada, based on what you just said, I had two thoughts. The first one is, just from a contractual place, like from somebody that has dealt with contracts all my life, do you now have, because I've always had like security requests and things in my contract, but now do you have to like put extra things in your contract to like about security, about if you're going to cancel, then you're going to need to pay this deposit before, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so thankfully, security is something that's pretty much always been in my contract since I've been touring. I have performed many places all over the world, and I have been recognized in the strangest places. And people go a little crazy sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
Especially when I'm at the shows in drag, like getting ready to come out or walking out to and from the stage to the venue, whatever it may be. People are waiting.
Right.
Maybe not with malicious intent, but they get excited and it can be dangerous.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. I've had people pull at me and yank at me and like almost knock me off stages and hang around not leaving because they just can't wait to see me, and they want to and they're giving these really weird vibes, and like some of these people, you never know what their intentions are. But I have been physically, I don't want to say assaulted because it wasn't with malicious intent, but I have been taken physically in different ways that I have been hurt and things of that nature by people who have recognized me or just wanted to get close to me at shows and at airports, even things of that nature.
Right.
So I do always have security. Nowadays, I've noticed, of course, Pride season, I've headlined many a Pride festival this year, and most of them, I'd say if not all of them, have up to their own security for the sake of making sure. And I usually do have an escort that gets me to and from places safely, meets me at the car when I get dropped off, walks me back to it and everything at the end of the night. Those types of things are pretty common. But I have noticed that many of the venues and festivals and stuff, especially when they're having headliners that would draw attention, do have increased security for the protection, not just of us, but of the patrons. Because something like that happening would be dangerous for everyone, including the children they're trying to protect.
So true. So true. Well, that they're claiming to try to protect, and that's the part that's the most frustrating for me and so many people, I think, is that we all know that it has nothing to do with that, and everything to do with bigotry and hatred and ignorance. And as we've said many times this season, at the root of it all is really evolution. The people who are ready to move to the next level know that people deserve basic rights, know that we're all the same people and that we should be kind to each other. It's all of these crazy people that are still scared and and stuck in these old ideas that aren't ready to evolve that are causing the problem.
Yeah, and how simple of a concept is it that everyone gets treated fairly, everyone gets treated equally. You're not hateful to someone because they're gay, because they're trans, because of whatever. You just let them live like anyone else walking across the street. It doesn't matter. But to these people, for some reason, people like us just existing is a threat to them and everything that they know, which isn't much. And it's interesting. I could not even imagine what truly goes through their minds on the day-to-day. I could never imagine having that much hate and misunderstanding in my heart.
Out of stepping away from the heavier section of the show, and kind of back into the idol stuff. When I was on The Voice, I was on season 1, so in 2011. So everything they did was a direct opposite of what Idol. Like they would say, like if we wanted to put up our fingers to say, like if I was the phone number was like da 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 number 1, we weren't allowed to put up our fingers, like all kinds of stuff like that, right? And I think it benefited the show tremendously, to be honest, and it certainly benefited the ratings. But when we were doing it, it was hang on, I got lost again. Where do we start from this?
Something about fingering the voice.
Wait, what?
There's that foul person.
Wait, Josh, what was I talking about before that?
I mean, you said you wanted to get away from the heavy stuff, and so we're moving.
Oh no! So in our season, you know, they didn't know what they were really doing, and we didn't get to spend a whole lot of time that season with coaches. I've since heard that has changed a fair amount to some degree. But did you get any kind of extra time with these judges in that way? Yeah.
No, the time that you see us get with them is the time that's on camera.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. So I do think that is something, I guess, that The Voice, I guess in that case, has over Idol. I do know there was a couple seasons, or at least one season, I think they put everybody in the same house and like had Lionel Richie or Smokey Robinson come to the house, that kind of stuff. But you're right. I guess there's never any kind of like one-on-one with the coaches stuff.
No, but I guess that's the thing that's different. The Voice has coaches. American Idol just has judges.
Right.
They're just judges.
And they really made a point to say we could never call them judges. So
yeah, and see on ours in their contracts is even that they're not allowed to have communication with us for a certain amount of time after the season is done.
Oh wow.
So even after the season is done, that contract ends, but they're already filming a new season.
Oh sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so
I figured that out real quick.
Yeah, we're not on their minds when they start filming a new season already.
Yeah.
So we're never gonna have that contact.
Yeah. I think that was also something because of the Idol contract, the Voice contract, like the guy who did the Voice contract also had done Christina's contract for the Voice, but he also did some Idol stuff before. And he was saying that because they were trying to be so anti-Idol, that the contract for us was way more lenient. So like there was nothing in the contract that said I could not keep contact with CeeLo or Blake or any of these. Like, you know, in fact, when I found out that that the record label didn't pick up my option, because everybody who went to the semifinals got the option to then become a recording artist for Universal Republic, and then they call you and tell you yes or no, basically at some point. And I was upset about it, and when that happened, I actually called CeeLo. And he was the one that was like, congratulations. I was like, what? He was like, you don't want to be on that label. He was like, they would just use you and maybe your record might get promoted, but that's not what you want.
They just sign you with bad 360 deals. Nothing
exactly.
good for the artist.
Yeah. And so he actually helped me reframe it. It was so nice. But you did, I think, you did something very, very cool in being yourself throughout this whole process. And I think that is probably one of the most difficult things that any of us can really strive to achieve, is trying to really remain authentic as often as possible. Because and you know, this gets back to all these crazy people that are trying to say this, that, or the other, or attack people. You know, if they could really, you know, calm down and really, you know, listen to themselves, they could probably hear that voice inside that's saying, oh, all that shit they're telling you is wrong, you know, but they don't. And because it's too hard to self-reflect, you know, in order to really be authentic, you've got to self-reflect. Do you find that you are spending a lot of time in, like, you know, meditation, or have you done a lot of therapy? What do you think helps you to really be so authentic?
I don't meditate, and I've never done therapy.
So not
for me, I am just unafraid of them, and I never came out. I never felt the need to come out. I never was in a space where I was like, oh my God, I have to hide who I am, or I have to learn to accept me, or have to get the people around me to accept me, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's not that I grew up in a family that was like, oh, you're gay, that's okay, baby, that's fine.
Right.
I did not grow up in that family.
Right.
They have, their hearts have changed, and they've learned so much. And I think the biggest thing was that when they realized what was going on with me was that they were scared for me.
Mm.
We are a family that was raised in the church.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, I never felt the need to be anything but me.
I love that.
And even as a kid, I was like, oh my God, I'm gay. I have to be scared. I have to this and this and this. It was just one day I was like, hey, Mom, this guy's coming over, okay? And that's just how it was for me. And I think my mother has always been, although afraid, although weary, although a little skeptical about my life and my choices and who I was, she never made me feel guilty about it. She was learning along with me. And I think that was something that was really important. And she's so supportive of everything that I do now, especially. She still worries for long term. She's like, how long can you be a cross-dresser? Is it realistic? Are you still gonna be making money in 10 years? Is it sort of thing. But she loves me. I never had to worry about being anything other than myself.
So cool.
When people oppressed me, including other family members, whatever may have been, she was on my side.
Oh.
And is my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my sisters, my closest aunts and uncles. We're not a huge family.
Right.
But all of those people that I would consider my immediate family, because we were all very tight knit, they all grew and learned with me, and I was able to show them a whole different side to what they originally thought was LGBTQ.
Right.
Because in their minds, they're raised in the church. It's the LGBTQ are going to hell. You're all sodomites. You're all.
You're a walking butt fucking piece of brimstone.
Basically. And I am.
Right.
But that's not the point.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe more than one thing.
Right. That's right.
And they realize we're not just those people. We're also people's sons. We're people's brothers. We're people's, whatever it may be. And I was very sheltered as a child. So here's the thing. And I just talked to my mom about this yesterday with my husband there in the room, because he didn't believe me when I told him about how sheltered I was, where I wasn't even allowed to watch TV networks like the Cartoon Network until I was like 15 or 16 years old. And that was because I still had to sneak it.
Right. Right.
I did not know what gay was as a term. I was being called from elementary school, middle school, are you bisexual? Are you gay? Are you this? Are you that? Are you this and that? And I was just like, sure. I didn't know what it was. I had never heard it. It was in my household, the only mention I had heard of it was that it was bad. But I just brushed it off. And people kept asking, what are you? Why do you talk like this? Why do you look like that? Why do you walk like that? Why do you like to sing so much? Why is your voice so high? Blah, blah, blah. Right. It was always, how kids can be.
Exactly.
And it was always that. And I was always just like, yeah, that's just me. And why am I broken? I don't think I am. So, what's the problem here?
You're just differently made.
Yeah, I didn't know what the issue was. I didn't know there was an issue until I was on American Idol at 19 as a boy. And then I was invited to sing at San Antonio Pride. And I was like, what's Pride? And
you're kidding me.
No, I was just like, what is that?
Wow.
yeah, that's
Sheltered.
all at one time.
Yeah.
I discovered Pride. I discovered that there was a community of people like me. I discovered drag. I discovered everything all in one fell swoop.
You were everything all at once all the time.
Exactly. And then from then on, I was just like, oh, there's people like me. And I had this Little Mermaid moment, and I was a part of that world. And it was giving that. And then shortly after, I was already 19, 20 years old. So I took it upon myself to say, I'm going to start going places and doing things and meeting people and seeing things. And then when I turned 21, I discovered and created Ada, and haven't stopped since then.
And that was around 2017 when you were back on Idol. Is that correct?
I was on Idol in 2018.
Gotcha.
And Ada started in 2015.
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. It's so nuts to me to think, I was trying to do this math earlier for myself because it's been 12 years since I was on The Voice.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels sometimes like it was yesterday, and then sometimes it feels like it was 40 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm 11 years since my first time on Idol.
Right. That's wild.
We're old, sister.
So you did Queen of the Universe right after you did Idol the second time, then?
Yeah, Queen of the Universe was done at the tail end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I remembered it being okay. Yeah, that's when it came out. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously, I would love to know. Like for me, when I left The Voice, the only people I watched after that on The Voice the next season, because A, I was so busy, and B, I needed the break, was my friends that were on season 2. I would watch clips of them and stuff. But did you watch the second season at all?
Oh, of Queen of the Universe?
Yes.
Yes. So I have watched pretty much every episode of every season of every singing competition. That's always been my dream. American Idol came out when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
And I was in the hospital. No, I had just gotten home from the hospital from recovering from brain surgery. And that was one of the few things that I could do was watch TV with my family, and we'd watch American Idol. And I always knew I liked to sing. That's where I discovered my dream as a singer. And since then, those were the shows that my sheltered life was deemed, safe to watch.
Sure.
So I watched a whole lot of them.
Wow.
I have since for 10 years now also been kind of third-party coaching and casting for shows like American Idol and The Voice and America's Got Talent. And when Queen of the Universe came along, I said, "Oh, I got to get into this."
Mm-hmm. Right,
and so
a no-brainer.
I am loyal to my singing competition shows, and because we run into so many of those other people doing what we do. Right. So it's good to know we all kind of share a similar experience.
It's wild.
And it's wild. Good to have those people in your corner.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, let's talk about what you got coming up, because you're not slowing down, and we've got about 7 minutes with you left. So you've got a new single coming up, but you've also got something that I saw you announced last week that I'm particularly excited for. You are getting ready to re-enter the pageant scene.
Yes. So
tell us all about both the single and the pageant.
Let's do it quickly, Miss Ada.
You got time.
I'm sorry, Miss Ada likes to talk.
We love it. We love it.
So I, as Ada, got my first title within about 7 months of doing drag. I started studying pageantry before I started drag. I'm a very competitive person, as you can tell by me jumping from competition to competition. I look at it as an opportunity to better myself and to become that pillar of excellence as a vocalist, as a drag artist, as a community pillar, as whatever it may be. Every step of the way. That's why I do what I do, and I'm constantly striving to do everything I can to challenge and better myself.
Yeah.
So my very first title was Miss Corpus Christi US of A at Large. And I beat someone who was like a 15-year drag veteran, super popular in the scene. I had been doing drag for like 7 months. They were so mad that nobody even had time to take pictures when I was crowned. They turned off the spotlight and everything. I stood up there with my plaque for about 30 seconds. They turned off the house lights, turned off the spotlight and everything, and everyone was out and angry and booing and everything.
Wow.
But I'm still very proud.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
That was a big accomplishment for me. I am stepping back into pageantry. As people know, I have competed for a few things. I have multiple titles. But I was just competing on the national stage at Continental Plus last year. And I got to witness Miss Gay America in person for the first time this past nationals year. My husband was competing at national level. So I got to witness it. I was his backstage hand and dresser, everything. And I got to witness it as a part of the sisterhood, as an audience member, kind of back and forth. And I fell in love with the way the system was run. I fell in love with the people. I know the owners have always been so kind to me. His promoters have always been so wonderful to me as well. Since before he ever competed, I'd been friends with them before that. And after experiencing the system firsthand, I said, there's no way that I can't try to be part of this. So I went ahead and decided to throw my hat in the ring. For me, timing's important. Everyone wanted me to go back to Continental and this and this and this, but they had the change in their schedule. It didn't fit with what I was doing. The rain would be at a weird time of my performance schedule. It just wasn't working out. And then this opportunity came up, and it's actually my husband's give up for his title here in Las Vegas.
Gotcha.
He's the reigning Miss Gay Sin City America. I will be competing for Miss Gay Sin City America. And the timing is just what I need it to be. So I said, maybe this is what it is. Maybe this is the one that's just going to feel good in my soul. I don't do pageantry to bolster my career. I'm good. I do pageantry because it fulfills my soul and fulfills my need as an artist. And it helps me to feel like I'm working within our LGBTQ community to represent us and to better us and to be that pillar of excellence that I feel like we need. That's why I do pageantry, because I'm truly passionate about the art.
Right.
Now, in terms of the single, my single is a very special song. I've recently begun performing it at Pride festivals and events that I've done, and it's very special to me. It's called Beautiful Self. I wrote it based on my experiences and experiences of others. It's inspired by my baby sister, who hasn't always had the easiest time in school when she was younger, coming up through elementary and early middle school. And it's all about being able to love yourself and knowing that you are enough. And the words that close off the chorus is, you don't have to be anything other than your beautiful, beautiful self. And it's the opening line is that you not word for word, but you post to the internet and there's always that person who has something to say. You post a selfie and you're feeling beautiful, but there's always someone that says, oh, you look like you've put on some weight. Oh, you look like this. Oh, it would be better if you had this angle or this. And there's always that someone who has something to say, even though you're like, I felt beautiful today. And then there's someone that's like, you don't look it. So it's kind of about overcoming that and knowing that that's always going to be there, but knowing that you'll always be enough just as you are.
I love that. That's really cool. And so when do you expect that to come out?
I am currently working on that. The single itself is done. Everything is ready to go. I'm working on, gonna make an announcement soon on getting my fans involved, my supporters. I want it to be a love letter to everyone who's been through something. So I want to include people who have had those experiences. Cool. It may feel hodgepodge or, crafty, but I want everyone, I want people to be involved holding something, that people have said to them. And I have a bridge in there that says, in the song, too thick, too thin, too dark, my skin is not your playground for hate. My stretch marks, my scars, my bones, my arms, this is my journey to take with my parts. Things of that nature. And I want people to hold up the lyric that appeals to them. I want people to hold on there something that says, Like, this is what people have said to me,
Right.
and, you know, rip it up and overcome and have a good message, and just everyone here with a smile on their face, just truly being part of it and showing to the world that we are overcoming. And I want that to be, I'm trying to figure out a way to make that the cover art for it and everything, because I want people to be involved. And I definitely, the music video is more than likely going to be slideshows of my supporters who submit those things to me.
Oh, cool.
Just that would mean so much to me, to have everyone's involvement in that way. It may not be a high budget, who knows what. It may be people sending in selfies for me to put in a little slide. But for me, it would mean more than anything, regardless of what people say it looks like.
Well, listen, again, no, regardless of what it looks like, that's, in fact, that's even, to me, even more the point. It does, the song is even says as much. Basically, it doesn't matter what this video looks like. It's about the message. It's about the truth. And so much of what I keep coming back to with you, Ada, is truth. It's you know, this authenticity. It's you living your authentic self and being true to who you are, and other people seeing that in you and knowing that they can do it too. And that's really inspiring.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Is it at Ada Vox everywhere?
Yeah, at Ada Vox everywhere. Oh, and before I rush off, we also started our own new podcast, My Beautiful Drag Daughter and I. Yes.
Oh, tell us about the podcast.
It might not be like you yet, but you know, we got Vox Talks. We just released the first episode this past Saturday. So please feel free, everyone, to check that out. It's on YouTube right now. Yeah, Vox Talks. It's there. We're having a good time.
Fantastic.
This is a referral code if you want to try out this software that I'm using to do video streams and stuff. And for folks at home, if you want to make your own video show, live stream, or podcast or whatever, StreamYard is a great way to start. One of the things they just introduced is now we can record separate audio for our guests without them having to like have software and stuff. It's really nice. So Ada, so excited about this new single. When is the competition for Miss Sin City?
August 14th here in Las Vegas. They can inbox me for ticket links if they want to do it. If
And,
they want to come on
that's
out.
part of the thing, right? You need to sell tickets for the show, right?
I ain't gotta do nothing. That
Okay,
ain't my
gotcha.
job.
I
I'm
know.
just showing up to
Some
get the
pageants
crown.
want you to buy tickets and stuff. And then
No, people will show up. Don't worry about it. Who's not gonna come to see me compete for the crown?
I mean, for real, especially, can we just talk about what a moment it's going to be to have your husband take the crown off and put it onto you?
Fingers crossed. There's
I mean,
some
that's a television moment if I've ever
there
heard
is
one.
some very, very stiff national level competition showing up to this one. It's going to be the best pageant of the year. I guarantee that. Show up, people.
All right, you heard it here first on Sidekick Power Hour. Ada Vox, thank you so much for being with us.
Before Ada goes, we have a quick question from the audience. Big Boy Project would like to know, what is your dream collaboration?
Oh, my dream collaboration? Oh, Lord. Well, let's do something that's local here in Las Vegas, just because I think it would be really fun. We have Kelly Clarkson and Adele here right now. I mean, come on. I'll take either one. I'm available to sing a duet.
Listen,
those local girls.
Those local girls, that's right. Yeah, they're local queens now. Listen, either one. Why not both? Let's see the three of you together. That would be incredible, right?
I agree.
Well, when I come to Vegas with my husband to see Adele and to see you too, I'll definitely reach out and maybe we can all grab dinner or something. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank y'all so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Let's do it again sometime.
We certainly will. Absolutely. When you'll be coming back when you've been crowned. So we'll be ready. We'll be ready. Thank you again.
Bye, babies.
Bye, Ada.
Wow, what a super duper rad person. Like, how cool. I mean, it's so, we've had a really good run of guests this season, Josh, but I feel like it just keeps getting better.
I do too. I mean, I knew Ada was going to be such a fun guest, and I knew Kyle was going to be a fun guest too.
Oh yeah, they were both great.
They proved to be even more fun than I thought they would be.
Yeah, no,
I always love to hear how these amazing performers have so many things I've experienced as well. It's just nice to see that it's there's some things I have in common with people, and sometimes I feel like I'm like a whole different person from like the other worlds and all that. Like, and
this is I'm gonna use my my best Ada voice here, and not tone wise, but just tone of. It's because you just need to accept your inner star. You need to accept that you already are on this level. It's just other people need to see you and experience you for it to kind of become this chain reaction, like a nuclear Oppenheimer kind of situation.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm hoping for that.
It's fact
because like I grew up. I mean, my mother would say was the first two things my mother said to me when I came out was, I'm worried about AIDS and I'm worried about gay bashers. Those are literally the first two things she said about me to me.
Right.
I'm just like 12, and I'm like, what? AIDS? I'm 12.
Right. Sure. Well, my parents were the same way. At the time I was 19, but still, it's understandable.
It is.
You know, but I get where you're going with this, which is we all have the same little threads that are shared in ways.
Yeah.
As queer people, as fat people, as performers, as in entertainment industry people, there's all these little threads that then lead us back to this idea that we're really the same people. We just need to see ourselves more in each other in healthy ways.
It's also sad to hear that all the threats and everything that Ada's gotten and everything.
It really was.
I haven't had a chance to tell you. I mean, Yolanda went to know him. Everyone knows our beloved Reverend Yolanda from Skeleton Crew and Demon Doctor and all our shows and everything. She is a very talented performer, and Pride is a very big month for her and everything. She went to New Hampshire to help this small little town in New Hampshire have a Pride festival. And someone put out an article about how she's a dangerous person, and in the local newspaper and everything, and people went and protested her, and it's like Yolanda is kindness personified, and I've never seen Yolanda be anything but a beautiful spirit, and for them to think anything about her other than that it's baffling. So,
you know what I have to say to those people? Fuck you, Zoe.
No one knows what you're talking about.
But they will. They will. One day they're going to watch this and go, remember when Nakia first let that line from A Taste of You slip?
And we have to make this into a shirt, I think.
A walking butt fucking piece of brimstone. Did I say that earlier?
I can't remember.
I did.
Ada, though. Was it?
I was talking about Ada because she was saying that everybody in her family all.
But I think this is a shirt. We have to make this into a shirt.
Wait, I just want to do a screenshot. Hang on one second. Oh Lord.
This would be a fun little thing to wear for Pride next year or something.
Absolutely.
I'm a walking butt fucking piece of brimstone.
Well, it needs to be. That's a line in the show. That's clearly a line in the show.
And I do think a merch shirt. I think people would buy. If you would buy a walking butt fucking piece of brimstone's T-shirt, then just sell us in the comments. So
earlier at the beginning of the show, I did mention that I was considering sharing a little something with us this evening, a performance of mine. Let's do that while we take this next segment, kind of segue out here. Let me pull that up. Nobody's seen this yet. Do you remember my version of My Funny Valentine?
I remember it because you played it on SideKick Power Hour not 2023, 2022, I think.
That's right, folks. Another Sidekick Power Hour exclusive premiere was right here. But I've got it right here. Hang on.
While we're waiting, if you're still here and you came to us because of Ada Vox, thank you for joining us, and feel free to come back and stick around. We do a lot of amazing things, and we hope that we'll see you again.
Including a 15-song musical written and produced and sang by a whole bunch of awesome queer fat people. So you should check it out. So this is, as I said earlier, a cover of Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. It is, I'm doing the arrangement that I believe, and the video I credit Scott Bradley with, and I think I misspelled his name, so I've got to redo it. But let me just double check, because now I'm tripping.
Now you're paranoid.
Yeah, I think I misspelled it. So let's see what happens when I show it. But anyway, my friend Casey Abrams sang this version on a record that they put out, and I was just really, really, really impressed with it. Let's take a look. Oh wait,
you did something wrong. Let's take a look. Everyone, can you see it? Never looked better.
She got a smile and it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories when everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, takes me away to that special place, and if I stay too long, I'll probably break down and cry. Oh, 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 sweet child of mine. Oh, 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 sweet love of mine. She got eyes of the bluest skies, and if they thought of rain, I'd hate to look into those eyes, see an ounce of pain. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where as a child I lied, pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass me by. Oh, 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 sweet child of mine. Oh, 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 sweet love of mine. Thank you very much.
Wait, but did I misspell it?
I don't know. I don't see a
arrangement by Scott Bradley. I misspelled it. That's okay. I need to redo this because, as you can see, Brad Hauser was on bass, and I need to put a little like dedicated to on this stuff. Oh, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that.
Caravaggio, Jean-Guy from Skeleton Crew, everyone.
Jean-Guy?
Yes. Sending you love, Ray.
We love you, Ray. Such a cutie.
Jalen also loved it.
Oh, good.
Aaron, I see you asked a question for Ada. Unfortunately, Ada's already gone, but I'm sure it was lovely working with Trixie Mattel and Queen of the Universe.
I sure hope so.
We're going to speak for Ada here, appropriately so. But
awesome. Anything else going on in the coronavirus? Things that we need to discuss? We're still waiting on the next episode of Demon Doctor. That's on me. That should be ready by Sunday for Patreon members.
Fingers crossed. It'll be on Patreon this Sunday.
Not Sunday, Sunday.
Sunday, July 30th. Ray's a huge GNR fan. I don't know what that means, but he loves
Guns N' Roses.
What's a Guns N' Roses?
Oh, shut
up. So that's the next big thing in the world of Sidekick Productions is Demon Doctor episode 6 coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I am very excited. Have you been enjoying this episode that you're working on?
Yes. It's a very, very cute. Listen, everybody, everything about this season is fantastic. I really enjoy it.
And for anyone who is excited, this is a very Barth-heavy episode. So if you're a fan of Stuart Keycheck, this is an episode you can check out.
Yeah.
I have a big day of filming on Saturday for me for our new project.
Talk about it.
It's the last major day of filming of our new series that we're working on. So we have 3 more days after that to film, but they're all very minor days. This is our last major day of filming. So I am very excited. It's the day I get to perform. Which is nice. I haven't performed almost anything at all this season, so I have a chance to act, which is always a delight for me. And it's going to be fun to see what happens and comes of it. So,
well, let's talk about what's coming up next for me and you.
Yes.
A month from today, I will be landing in New York City.
That's right, and we're going to be doing some. That's one of the 3 days of minor filming that we're doing left for this new project, and we might film something else too if you figure out what you want to do.
Well, we're going to talk about that right now. So I've been looking at hotels to think of like
filming our OnlyFans content. So
no, not just OnlyFans content.
I'm not filming OnlyFans content with Nakia. Just FYI, don't get your hopes up, everybody.
What about my hopes?
I know that your hopes are your hopes. And
no, I'm just kidding. So,
besides, it was an awesome performance.
Oh, thank you so much, SM. So, I've been looking to see, like, finding kind of a cool hotel room that would look good on film.
Do you know what song you want to film?
Well, I don't think that I want us to do Thrill-O-Matic just yet, which is the song that I'm going to debut on Friday on Sun Radio.
So you know what you're not doing. So when are we doing?
Right. So one of the ones that I've been thinking about is Say Goodbye One More Time, which is you've heard. It is what's the word? Let's do this. Let's go.
Oh, that could be interesting. You could be sitting. Yeah, what we could do for that, you could be me and Kyle McChicken saying goodbye as you're singing in the corner of the space.
That's not what I was thinking. But hang on a second. I am going to find what I'm looking for here. Ice Cream Factory Studios Masters. It used to be called Dark Secret, but now it's called Say Goodbye One More Time. So let me get it pulled up.
It goes something like this.
Well, we are going to listen. We are going to listen to it a little bit. Absolutely.
Speaking of songs, while you're pulling that up, I didn't know what you and Chris Grace were talking about at all last week with this Jason Aldean song, and then all I can see on Twitter or X now is everyone talking about it. So I'm like, wow, okay,
Told you.
you're right.
Well, and it's sold a tremendous amount since the controversy. The sales have only went up.
Yeah.
Which really says a lot about that.
Well, it ties in with that Sound of Freedom movie as well.
Right.
That is nobody's going to see, but it's selling out theaters. So
right, exactly.
Anyway, on to the positive song that you're singing, or maybe sad song. I don't know if it's positive.
This is not positive, really.
Yeah.
All right. So again, if you're watching this or listening later, we probably edit this out of the final one. But if you're watching this now or later or whatever, nobody's heard this song publicly yet. It's only ever been played in private. It's called "Say Goodbye One More Time," and I'm just playing it for Josh now so we can get an ideas of what we could do with the music video.
I know it's hard for you to hear it. I know you feel bad. I know you tried to make it right. But we both know that it's time to face up. We both know it's time to fly. I hope that you're listening. I got something to say. If you tell me your secrets, I will tell you mine. Whisper in my ear, say goodbye one more time. They told me you had been cheating, but I wouldn't hear it. I had my own cross to bear.
All right, so
I was like, the music gets really quiet.
yeah, I turned it down. Well, because we don't have time to listen to the whole thing and talk about it. So I figured you get an idea of the tone of the song, and figure out, what obviously the song's just said, they told me you had been cheating, but I wouldn't hear it, that kind of stuff.
I mean, I actually think I was on to something there a little bit when I said, I mean, if you want this to be set in a hotel room, for example, I mean,
go ahead.
It's just a lot of really like sexy stuff at the beginning, close-ups of lips and kissing and everything, and then delving into fighting and everything, and then makeup sex, and then back to fighting again.
Yeah. But we'd have to keep it down because we wouldn't be authorized to shoot at said hotel.
Well, also we wouldn't. So, we wouldn't have to say anything. It's all music. So. Right.
It's all MOS. But here's my thinking. What you said at the beginning was, well, maybe you can watch me and Kyle McChicken saying goodbye to each other. And now what I'm thinking is, hang on a second. Hey Siri, stop the music in the studio. Now what I'm thinking is, what if that's exactly what it is? Because at one point, I'm watching two people who are cheating on the other people. And then another point, one of those people is watching me cheat on somebody else. But it's the same hotel room. And you see us go into the same door.
So
all of it happens.
It's kind of like the music video I did, Trespassing.
Is it?
Well, it's just all these things happening in hotel rooms. It's just in the same hotel room then. And we just see people cheating left and right constantly.
Yeah, but we don't want to. In this instance, we only ever want to. We want to make a clear distinction that there's a couple, and they're both clearly done, but they're not telling each other. That's what the song is about, right? It's like, if you tell me your secret, if you tell me your secrets, I'll tell you mine. So, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it would only be the four.
That, yeah. So you need like the couple, and then you need like 3 or 4 mistresses.
Oh, I hadn't put it into that perspective. Wait a minute. What I was saying is there was a couple and one mistress, and the one guy, or no, 2 mistresses, only 2.
Oh, so, yeah, that works.
You know, so, but another part that could work could be that.
Or maybe one of you goes to one of the couple goes to like the bathhouse all the time. So
sure, but I mean we can't really do a bathhouse in a hotel. So
you say that now. We made a bathhouse out of a living room, so
I know, but I like the idea of it all being set in one space. Number one, for time and cost.
Well, a lot of times hotel rooms, especially larger hotel rooms, have like a table. And like a table and chair set too, don't they?
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at getting. I'd get like a suite.
So there could be a table and chair set where the couple is eating a cold dinner with cold mac and cheese.
It's cold.
There's nothing worse than cold, reheated mac and cheese, Nakia.
One day they'll get it.
So this is something here. I think it's very easy. It's not too hard at all. So 4 performers then, and a cameraman or woman or person.
Sure, and but let's explore for just a second because we've got a little bit more time. But there's also something, and not necessarily one of them goes to the bathhouse all the time, but one of them the secret could be that they're fucking lots of people.
Yeah.
And the other one's secret could be that they're an alcoholic, or that they're a junkie. Or something like that.
But it's easier to show. Well, yeah, it's just why you don't go to a hotel room to be a junkie.
Well, some people do, but
True,
not.
I don't. I say this as if I know a lot of things about being a junkie.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the. I mean, hotel room for most addicts, I think hotel rooms have potential for something. So, but. Obviously, the sex is better because that's more in line with what we're talking about.
I also think it adds a whole other layer to have it be alcohol or drugs that maybe you don't want to tackle. Yeah. Because it
yeah, you're right. All right, so then we would really need to decide, like, because I love your idea of a lot of it being like close-ups on bodies, close-ups on lips,
especially that lengthy opening and everything before it gets to any lyrics.
Hang on. Yeah, you're right. The opening is
it's like a good at least 15 seconds, isn't it?
Let's just time it again and see.
Let's do that. In the meantime, while you're doing that, thank you, Big Boy Project, for saying this was an amazing show with great guest interviews. I agree with you completely. We had some amazing guests on tonight. If you are just tuning in now for the very end of the show, we had Kyle McIntyre and Ada Vox on the show, and they were both incredible, incredible guests with incredible songs coming out. So follow them and give them a listen. And while you're at it, like and comment and subscribe to us because we would love that to have you come back.
We sure would. Okay, here we go.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, that's 15 seconds.
to at least 30 then.
I know it's 33 seconds.
Yeah. And you can also do some fun stuff in the shower. You can do some fun stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do in a hotel room.
And one of the things I was thinking about was, like the song as the intro is playing, we could be seeing just kind of intercuts of bodies, and you're not really seeing who it is until we get to maybe the second. Like, how can we create a mystery, and how can there be a reveal? That's the thing. Like, we don't want to give it away that they're both cheating at the same time, because the chorus is when we find out that they have secrets too. So,
you'd have to send me all the lyrics so I can take a look at them and go from there.
Okay, I'll do that.
But we've got something percolating now.
Yeah, and I think we might even consider doing it like black and white or very desaturated and or kind of gritty. I don't know. It just feels like it needs to be kind of dark, Like, we might have to fake darkness, The pause was so telling. What does that mean? What pause in the song?
The pause in the song, Big Boy Project?
Maybe. But we are out of time. This is SideKick Power Hour. We do this every week when we're taping, and right now we're taping. We've got a lot of other great shows coming up. Just a few to name right now. August 7th, we're going to have St. Drogo guys here. We've got Tom Goss and Liz DeRoche coming. And I believe what might end up being the last episode of season 3 will be Benjamin Cole. And we'll probably have somebody else on that night as well, obviously. But that'll probably be the end of season 3. Then we'll work on getting this as a podcast done. And then we'll come back and after we've booked the next, because I don't want to have to try to be constantly booking like right now. Like right now, I'm scrambling to figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the season. We've got 2 or 3 things left open, but we've also got several asks out. You were saying earlier that like I had the knack for doing this. It's not a knack. It's just a harassment charge. It's waiting to happen. I'm just like, will you be on the show? Will you be on the show? Hey, we'd still love to have you on the show. Would you like to come talk about this on the show? And some people say yes immediately, like Dominic Burgess. Once Big Dipper actually saw the message, he said yes immediately. So, because I was sending them to, I guess, the wrong place. And then I realized, like, I could just DM him. And I just DM'd him.
You slid into his DMs like Catalan into Kyle McChickens.
I did. I actually texted Catalan and said, I've never heard anybody pronounce his name like that.
Tom Goss pronounces it that way, too.
Oh, interesting. That's right. Wait, you are right. You're right. I just remembered that now.
And I've asked Catalan about it, and Catalan has told me, I don't really care how you pronounce my name. So,
right, yeah.
So that didn't tell me what his name pronunciation was. It just told me he didn't care what it was.
Yeah, Cataline.
Like if his pronunciation is Cataline, I would love to pronounce it that way and call him that.
I told him, I said it was so beautiful. I texted him, I was like, wow, it's so beautiful. But now I get it. You're right. Tom does do it. Yeah, and maybe it's just like that. They're hardcore about. Like I have a friend that goes by George to most people, but some people we know call them Jorge because they can't get with George. I don't know. I don't know. It feels weird, but anyway, whatever. Thank you everybody for being here. Next week we have, I think it's somebody Crooniverse related.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to you on that. Watch the post this week. The Patreon, all that good stuff. And don't forget, I'll be at Austin Eastsiders this coming Friday night. I'll be performing at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. You can listen live on sunradio.com or on the Sun Radio app. And immediately after I'm done performing, or maybe we'll do it before I start, they're going to debut my brand new single to radio, which is Thrill-O-Matic.
I can't wait to actually hear it. So,
well, you've heard it.
The final
but
version.
I think you have.
Oh, well, then in that case, it's a great song. So,
all right, folks. Thanks for being here. We will see you.
Good to
Thank
see
you,
you, John.
John. So good to see you. What a great picture of you. Your smile is so nice.
Oh, it is a great picture.
Yeah, nice colors too.
Have a
in the
good night.
background.
Thank you, Blotchy Bear, by the way. Have a good night and safe week, everybody.
Thank you so much. And if you're watching this later, make sure to subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought. Well, we love to hear from you. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
And that's the tea.
It stopped on my